What is going on, everybody? Welcome, Goglings. Welcome, Gogorifics, Gog peoples around the world. Welcome to episode 272 of Pen and Pixels. I am your host, Arvin Elleron. This is the show that we do here every Tuesday from 4 to 7 p.m. Eastern, focusing on story and narrative in games. And today, of course, this is more of your favorite, your D&D love, I hope. And that, of course, is D&D with GOG Storm King's Thunder, as we are moving in towards the, oh my goodness, Wolf Soul with the subscription. Thank you, Wolf Soul. 35 months D&D hype. That is exactly right. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Wolf Soul. Welcome back to the DRM Free community. I am very excited to have this incredible crew of players with us. And in fact, I'm going to make a quick comment about them in just a minute. But before I do that, I do remind everybody about ways to support us here on the channel. If you haven't done so already, please make sure to follow us here on GOG.com. We always appreciate that. Please make sure to subscribe to us here on GOG.com, because that allows us to support the streamers and do all that kind of good stuff. And please also consider clicking through and supporting us on our individual channels, because we have our own Patreons and subsystems and stuff like that over there as well. Schedule today, we are of course doing D&D with GOG Storm King's Thunder. Next week on this channel and on this show, we will be doing Talisman Adventures. We will continue with that sponsored campaign, which is very exciting. And then the month after that, I do want to let people know that we are going to have at least one and possibly two sessions of we'll have Talisman Adventures, which will be its normal session, but my guess is that we are going to be doing Storm King's Thunder. The final session, I think, of Storm King's Thunder will take place during my charity convention, which is always held in late May and is called ARVCon, to benefit the Damon Runyon Cancer Research Foundation. So that is going to be happening. I think that will be particularly poignant for those of us in the GOG stream community who, of course, lost Dialad, who passed away from breast cancer, as we know, earlier this year. And this is going to be an opportunity, I think, for us to in some ways honor her memory and to, again, do what we've been able to do all along with ARVCon, which is to bring forth a lot of positives and raise a lot of money. We've raised over $10,000 over the years for these various campaigns and charities, and we're very excited to be able to do that. So that is the deal with that. Hey, what's up, Effect Life? Good to see you, man. So that's what's going on with this. But I also have another announcement that I'm going to make, which I am going to do. But first, I'm going to unmute myself, letting the wonderful people know that we're ready to go. And then I'm going to unmute them. And last but certainly not least, I'm going to head over to reveal that the crew is here. They are here and ready and prepared.
And not looking shifty.
And not looking shifty.
Nope, none of us.
Everything's fine. You're all looking totally normal and above board completely. I like that as you were doing that, Shy's baby's like looking up in your direction, like not shifty at all. Saber. Anyway, it's good to see everybody here. I do want to mention just quickly before I introduce these folks that I've just been speaking to them, and they have confirmed that after D&D with GOG is over, that they are never going to play D&D again. No, I'm just making that up. That's not what they said. They after D&D with GOG is over, they are going to continue, and I'm not going to announce yet what the campaign is that we're going to be moving into, but I have told them what the campaign is, and so we're going to continue to do our Talisman Adventures once a month and D&D once a month on this channel, which will be a whole new campaign and adventure. But first, of course, we have to resolve this adventure, and that means that now that they've rescued the Giant King, we're going to have to see what happens for the rest of this session. And who are the people, you may ask, who will be playing these characters for you today? Let's find out by beginning with the person right below us, who is very, very excited after this adventure to be starting back at level 1, is super pumped up about that prospect. And that, of course, is Pyron Jade. What's
I
up,
love
Pyron?
starting over at level 1.
It's good to see you, Pyron. How is life in the universe with you, and who are you playing today?
Life is currently a bit exhausting, so I'm happy to be here to relax and have fun with friends. And hello, Arvsend, I'm talking to you.
Yeah, I don't. Okay, there we go. My focus, something like my focus went off. I apologize. My bad. My cam is no longer drunk. On you go. Sorry.
And I'm playing Greta Goldenfire, who is currently unconscious because of nearly dying last time.
Mm-hmm.
But when she's not unconscious, she's a dwarven cleric of Foltest, may his light shine on your way, who threw a lot of fire around last time and even walked on water. So she was doing pretty well before the whole dying thing started.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even sure if she knows yet that we've kind of won, but at least, I mean, we have saved the Giant King. We can retire now, right, people? Right? Correct? I'm right? Right?
Wrong.
There we go.
We will see. We will see. Maybe so. I mean, listen, like I said, maybe the Giants will present you with this situation, and maybe your reaction will be like, let the Harpers deal with it. We'll see whether or not that happens.
They have a dragon.
Yeah, send the other dragon to deal with the dragon. But anyway, it's a pleasure to have Pyron with us, and always a pleasure as well to have, of course, Dark Saber 2K with us. As usual, I will thank Saber for doing the background stuff. Saber popped into my channel earlier today when I was playing the my channel's chat chosen game of the month, which was Super Nintendo Shadowrun. And let me tell you, you have not lived until you've dealt with the UI known as Super Nintendo Shadowrun. I don't know what they were like. Let's do half computer, half controller running around and all jank, and let's see what happens. It was a fun game, but oh man, the UI is crazy, go nuts. Anyway, but it is always a pleasure to have Saber with us. Saber, how you doing? How's life in the universe in your neck of the woods, and who are you playing today?
I'm doing good when I'm not slamming things against my desk anyway. Yeah, Shadowrun. That was a blast from the past seeing you play. I just did it again. I need to stop fidgeting. Yeah, the thing that did me with Shadowrun was all those snipers. It's like every screen.
Like dumpsters and like
dumpsters,
just like,
rooftops, everything taking shots at you. I couldn't get past that when I first played it, but like I said, beat about 15 years ago. I got some closure on it.
Yeah, they just don't understand. I don't know. I don't get it. Very strange. And you were playing today, sir?
Yes, I'm stepping back into Cell Sigmauer, who has now added Giant to the list of things that he is.
That's true. That's true. Although who knows for how much longer, since it's not a permanent condition, you know.
It is, and undoing the stat changes is going to be interesting for me because I didn't make proper notes on what they originally were because I was a bit excited at the time.
Yeah, and boy, they needed you to be in giant form that whole fight because, I'm here to tell you, it wasn't just Greta who was down for the count. It was Urash who was down for the count. River was in deep trouble. You were in trouble. Yeah. It was
I
rough,
need to see a chiropractor from carrying the whole group.
Oh, wow. Wow. How about that? We don't even get the Captain America. Like, you're not even going to give the credit to the Captain America fall, like the land, you know, that kind of thing. Or River's sleet storm, or, Greta setting the bad mage on fire for a brief period of time. Shots fired. Exactly. I was just saying what great chemistry this group has, and now it's all blown up.
It's near the end now. Let the treachery begin.
Man,
if that's how you want to play it.
It's always a pleasure to have Saber with us. Also, always a pleasure to have Mike with us. Peripheral Mike. Mike, it is good to see you. You are back as usual. He's got when he first came in, he was a little loud, right? You can come back a little bit. So he dials back. He's like, how's this? Is this coming through okay? I want to make sure that it's just like, oh man, the richness, just spread that on some bread, right? That right there.
Yeah,
like,
baby.
The smooth sound.
That's what I'm talking about.
How you doing, Mike? How's life with you and who you're playing today?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Well, I'm not doing well, but I've been better, like medically. I'm not doing too great at the moment. I've got a weird stomach thing up at the moment. So if my head's not completely in the game, that's probably why, just in case anybody wonders. But all in all, the universe is treating me pretty damn well. There's lots of different things going on in the background with me at the moment. Not least of all being the latest episode of Final Fantasy, which I'm currently working on, which is going to be fantastic. And I got a fantastic guest for it that I'm not allowed to mention at the moment. Ooh. But project secret stuff, people's secret stuff. It's awesome. But yeah, today I am playing Urash, the half-orc barbarian and devout follower of Tempest, who I believe may be dead, though I'm not sure. I was definitely turned to stone, I remember that much, and I've just opened my character sheet and it says I'm on 0 hit points. So I'm not quite sure what's going on with me at the moment. I think I'm in trouble. See this? I'm in trouble.
Yeah. When you say 0, and when I look at -25, it's just important for us to recognize, that there are distinctions between those differences. But no, we will talk a little bit about what happened in just a moment. But first, after saying how much of a pleasure it is to have Mike with us, also to say how much a pleasure it is to have both Chai and her baby with us, who has arrived on the scene. How are you, Chai? How's life, the universe with you, and who are you playing?
Apparently I'm getting beat up, which I don't love.
She's just prepping you for today, just like,
I know, she's like, we're done now, we're going to go play. We're not, we're gonna stay right here. Yeah, okay, anyway. I don't know, life is crazy. Life is absolutely crazy. Moving into a home is supposed to be easy, but it's not. It's really hard to go.
I know, yes. Indeed.
It was no fun at all.
When are you moving, actually, Chai? Like, when is...
So we don't have a date yet because we're trying to get floors done.
Okay.
And that means we have to work around the flooring people, which means we have to decide what floors we're doing. So everything is a lot of fun right now. We'll hopefully have a decision today, which means we will hopefully have a move-in date by the end of the week. That's what we're going for.
I see. Okay. So
but probably
next month
like
is
beginning or mid-May.
All right, I was going to say, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so somewhere in there. So like end of May, which seems to be our trend as we do D&D at the end of the month. I should be open. I should be okay.
If all goes well, that's good. I think we'll be able to. Hopefully, we'll arrange that so that it works out. Okay, cool.
Yeah, we'll figure it out so it works out. I don't want to miss out on D&D. But anyway, I am playing River, a silver dragonborn who is not dead, right? I think
correct. Not unconscious and not dead.
Not unconscious. I managed to not die somehow. 10 HP, so I'm okay.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty
but
hurt.
I am very upset with the king for hurting the griffin, and probably gonna resent him a little bit about that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
that's true.
we'll see.
Hecaton, who was a little bit out of his mind, and just came out of it, and you're just like look at what happened. Yes, we will see what happens with Hecaton and the rest of them. I did actually. This makes me want to do a calculation very quickly. So let's see. We have Urash typically has 86 hit points, and usually Selsig has 96. Whoops, sorry. Thank you so much, game, for the. No, that's not it.
No, I don't
There we
think that Celtic
That's
usually has
correct.
90.
That's correct.
Okay, yes, of course.
Oh, I'm sorry, 47. Yeah. Let me rephrase. Let me rephrase. As a giant, he has 86 plus 47. Yes, thank you for the correction.
Yeah, I told you
yeah.
he'd have the number.
42
To be fair, I actually did still have 47 on my sheet. I
plus
just,
66.
for some reason, I'd convinced myself I had about 29 because I tend to be very squishy.
So you have 241 hit points as a group at your maximum, okay? So 241. At the moment, we have 22 minus 3, so that's 19, minus 25. So you have -6 out of 241 total hit points as a party. I just want to be clear that that's what we're dealing with here. I think your pets actually have more.
That's
than
how we roll.
Me back.
Yeah. So it's, woo. But they survived. They made it, and let us talk a little bit about the recap that we had last time. I'm going to, and I think it's very appropriate to do this, put on the music of Healing. I think that seems appropriate. By Kevin MacLeod.
This is healing and not gentle passing.
Yeah, moving to the light beyond.
Yeah.
It's
Move
called The
towards
Light
the
at the End of
light.
the Tunnel. No! So, in our last session, the party had their not quite final, but climactic showdown with many of this Society of the Kraken that had basically kidnapped and stolen King Hecaton under a plot hatched by someone else who we're going to talk about in a little bit, in an effort to throw the ordning into disarray, to cause the giants to lose it, and to basically ravage across the Sword Coast. And they were doing a pretty good bang-up job of maintaining this plan up until our party got involved. But over the course of the adventure, the party has managed to thwart various activities of the Kraken Society, has managed to defeat a couple of evil giant lords, and has managed to eventually get to this point where on the Morgoth, I believe it was called, not Morgoth, Morkoth, the Morkoth, they were able to fight, and over 2 sessions were able to finally defeat the captors of, and then rescue King Hecaton himself. This was not without cost to the party and its connections. One particularly lovable griffin. We already know that we had lost Wingding, but Ariel, the adolescent griffin who flew down in an attempt to help the party, while Hecaton was in a state of madness, Hecaton basically accidentally hit and obliterated said griffin. And River got to see it, and River was not very happy about it. But the party did manage to escape barely. I mean, this was really close to a TPK. Urash is down. Greta is down. Selsig is at 12 points out of 96. as a giant.
He didn't even loot. He was that concerned.
Exactly, and 16 out of 47 in his regular form, and then River is 10 out of 42, as we already said. So the party was in difficult straits, but did manage to rescue Hecaton, who brought them back to Maelstrom. And as you may remember, at the end of our last session, I pointed out that sometime after they had left, we had a little cinematic cutscene where these massive tentacles from the deep curled around the ship, smashed it to flinders, and dragged it to the bottom of the sea, bottom of the ocean. But the party by that time was already, thankfully for them, long gone. Before we talk about the final chapter of Storm King's Thunder, and this is in fact the final chapter, and it is called, because I really liked this name, Doom of the Desert. It is the final chapter of Storm King's Thunder. Doom of the Desert. And it begins with everyone going to level 1. No, I'm just kidding. Doom of the Desert. And
that's pretty much all the biomes there.
Exactly. Yeah, we've gotten everything. Undersea, oversea, winter, and desert.
Mountains.
You got everything. Forest. Yep. So, but you're going to be doing this. And again, we'll talk about it. You will have choices in terms of how you want to manage, or if you want to just walk away from it. That's quite possible. But in any case, the final chapter is called Doom of the Desert. And in the interim, between that last level and this one, the last chapter in this one, the party has gained a level for its bravery in the battle on the ship. And so the party is now level 9. That's right. They have elevated themselves to level 9 status. Which means that, lots of good things await. It means basically Selsig can do 700 sneak damage, with every hit. Urash basically can have his head removed 5 times and handed to him, and it's no big deal.
I'm a walking blender now.
Yeah, like River basically casts a storm, and 75 storms appear, and every continent at once. And then Greta, not only heals, but now has merged her power so that as she heals people, fireballs shoot from her in all directions to destroy her enemies. So that's, it's all good. None of these things I've said are true. But what is true is that they're more powerful than they were, and they are now ready to take on what happens next. So with that said, we start, actually, we're going to jump forward here to a day after the party has arrived back at Maelstrom. So I will tell the party that you are now back to your full complement. All of you have been saved. And also Urash has been turned back through the power of the giants to flesh. Because the giants used a greater restoration spell on you to do so, Urash. They are, as you might expect, exceedingly grateful to you for having rescued their king. Sarissa is, in particular, extremely just can't believe that you were able to do it, and has told you on multiple occasions that she is so glad that her father's faith her mother's faith in little people has been restored, and has pledged fealty, etc., etc., etc. And so you're all basically sitting around feeling like, all right, it's time to redo the Ewok scene in Return of the Jedi. It's time to party down, watch some fireworks, and until, while you have been pampered and taken care of over the last 24 hours, you have been summoned to King Hecaton's chamber, as King Hecaton is now firmly in control again of the Ordning, or at least firm in control of the Storm Giants. And so he has summoned all of you back into the throne room for what he calls a special ceremony, is the way he's described it. And so we're going to pick up there, but I will give you a chance. You have a minute or two in game time to sort of chat with each other before you actually have to go to this meeting. So if you wish to speak to each other about stuff, you can. That's up to you. While you do that, I'm going to set up my little echo machine because I'm going to need it in just a minute. So.
So,
my friends, we've done it.
Yes, and you know what?
I hug each and every party member, preferably all at once, and just lift you all up, because we have succeeded. We have done our mission. We have saved the world.
Okay,
and then my back goes, because I've got 1 hit point.
Seriously, now we have a giant king who is apparently okay again. We do have to help us with that dragon. Maybe, just maybe, they can help saving the world.
That's it. We've done what we wanted to do. We've saved the king of the giants.
Yes.
That's it. We've done it. I hug Greta again.
I hack back, and you know what? I still would like to kick that Fire Lord's ass. You think we've
We
got time for
didn't
that?
find the thing that started this all,
You-
though.
Wait, wasn't that the big squid?
No, the Ring of Winter.
The Ring of Winter started this?
Well, that's what we were pursuing.
Yeah.
We were told it was linked to all this. It's still missing.
I wonder if King Hexon knows anything about that.
What was that Fire
Also-
Lord's name?
Duke
I mean,
Zoltan.
You
he
know-
has been chained in a boat this whole time, so...
That's very true. Maybe he has some sort of connection to it, though. I don't know. People are weird with magical items, right?
We wanted to do something about Duke Zoltan and his slave trade.
Well, we blew up his statue.
Did we blow up his statue?
Well, this thing, the metal statue thing that he was building.
That's true. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. There is part of me that would like to go back over there and just completely ruin his day permanently. So
I feel
mean,
we should do that.
I'm down with that. If we're gonna go ruin a fire tyrant's day, I'm completely down with that. And for some reason, I feel much stronger than I did 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Maybe if we
thought of-
don't set fire to the village at the top first, the element of surprise could be on our side.
No, I think we burn everything to the ground. I mean, I know this is...
He's a fire giant. Doesn't he like that?
Goat people aren't fire giants. And goat people, and I lean into Selsig, deserve to burn.
I think Greta already did that.
Well, I think we should go do it again.
And the slaves.
Burn the ashes.
No.
No, not the slaves.
No.
Okay, whoa, hang on.
They were in that hut.
No,
Hang on, no.
they were not.
They were. I was
No.
in there with them.
No, they were not there.
Well,
They
this
were
would be an
totally not there.
excellent- This would be an excellent opportunity to go back and see if they're okay.
Yes,
And
We
if
should do
not,
that.
we can make
although
we
they
can
are
make
okay.
atonement for this by killing lots of goat people and fire giants.
We should talk with King Hekaton about this. Maybe he likes the plan.
Okay.
In the background, you hear a durng, durng, which you know is
Anybody?
a summoning bell, basically.
Am I still giant at the moment?
No, it's past 24 hours. Sadly, about 10 hours
Oh, wow.
later, Selsig, you woke up to find you were back to your normal, agile, super, portable for everyone's convenience height, that kind of thing. So,
Back to one modifier for my strength.
yes, indeed. But you'll never forget that glorious time. Okay. So you hear the summoning bell.
That either means we're needed somewhere, or it means that dinner's ready.
I could eat.
Okay,
I could eat a fire giant at this rate.
I'm not sure I could go for seafood though.
Yeah.
I could go for seafood now.
Oh, I left my tentacle on the boat.
It's true.
Yeah, it
wait.
looked really tasty. No, but we took one to the tower, didn't we? You still have one in the tower.
No,
Yeah,
no. Me and River used them to climb up the side of the ship.
I thought it was a new
yeah.
one.
No, we didn't get a second tentacle.
Oh, okay. Well,
They were
maybe
really-
next time.
If we could get more, they're really good for climbing things.
Huh? Yeah.
All I know for certain is I don't like being turned to stone. I think it's a cheap trick and not something that is honourable in combat, and I still don't feel great about it. So, yeah, there's that.
Come on. Let's meet up with King Hekaton. and
I
see-
liked being a giant.
I liked you being a giant. I'm not gonna lie, friend. I liked you being a giant. You were kicking ass and taking names.
I kind of see why some of them want to take over the world now.
And that's probably why that potion only lasts that long.
Yeah, they probably have a very good system for preventing people like me doing things like that.
Yeah, it's called
I
adventurers.
I wonder if you're now immune to that spell, or if you can do it again and again. I mean, we still have 3 potions,
I
right?
was just about to say that. I didn't see
That's-
anyone else
that's
go
true.
giant.
No, that's very true. Hey, man, I think.
Although Giant Orash, I kind of want to sell tickets to that.
Well, friend, get your ticket book handy because tonight only.
The summon bell sounds again.
Okay.
Yeah, we should probably go.
So assuming you make your way into the throne room, You have had a chance actually to see much more of the area than before. Not like that. You actually are revealing areas, not hiding them. Thank you. So you've had a chance to see many other areas that exist within this. You've been basically given just about the entire run of the place. And it should be noted that one group of people that you have decidedly not seen have been the two sisters. The two elder sisters have not been very visible. And just judging from kind of basic rumors, you get the impression that they've got some explaining to do, is the way that you would describe it. As Hecaton and his wife, both, of course, are now back on the throne. I should mention also that Hecaton's admiration only grew when it became clear that you would also manage to bring his wife back. So he is extremely pleased with you.
It was not necromancy.
Exactly.
Yeah,
In a perfectly safe, not deadly. Yeah. So when you enter the chamber, it is actually lined with giants. There are storm giants that are all around the outside of it. More giants probably than you've seen in one place. Like you've seen a bunch of little, you've seen giants here, giants there, but like this is the first time you've seen this many. There must be probably 30 of them or so that are arrayed around the outside of the room. And as you come in, two of them who are holding these very long, elaborate-looking horns that swirl. They almost look like conch shells. Hold them up and the whole thing like literally Selsig and Greta, you both kind of like rattle a little bit on the floor, like as this thing underneath it. And River and Norash, you can feel it like kind of going up your legs a little bit, just like really deep rumble. And Hecaton is sitting on the worm skull throne in all his glory. He looks somewhat, despite his ordeal, to be somewhat healed. Not fully, this only happened a little over a day ago, of course, but considering what he's been through, the resilience of the giants apparently is not without reason. And when you come in, he says, "Welcome, the heroes of giant kind." And he speaks this way, and everyone is just like, and there's this, like people, applauding and cheering. But let me tell you, 30 giants in a room applauding is like, like wind back and forth and very overwhelming. Next to him, like this. Yeah, it's like the beginning of Thor, the movie Thor, right? Where he walks in, he's like, yeah,
Yeah, pretty much.
It's very dramatic, and he. And when everyone calms down a little bit, next to him, by the way, on one side is the queen. On the other side is his daughter Sarissa, who is also a big fan of yours, as I've already said. And he says, "Through great personal sacrifice and deep risk to themselves, these 4 people have managed to save us all from destruction and deception. Were it not for them, perhaps our people would have quarreled even further, would have fallen into complete disarray, and there would have been all-out war, and we would have been in the wrong. It is only because of the little people that the big people here have a chance to thank them. And so we do so by pledging peace and fealty." Now, this one, the reaction to this is a little more mixed. Like, you get a lot of people are like, yeah, but then there's some people who are like, Like, you could tell that some people are not wild about the idea of hanging out with little people, but they're not obviously going to say anything because Hecaton literally like looks around the room. In fact, make an insight check for me, I guess all 4 of you, please, as he's looking around the room.
Where is Roll20? There is Roll20.
He's talking with words.
Words are being spoken.
He's using mouth sounds.
And River with a 13. So I think all of you are just kind of overwhelmed, except for River. And River, as he looks around, you can see that there's a couple of the people grumbling that when Hecaton's gaze passes over them, like, I don't know, like doing the oh, great, yes, I mean, the little people, like, let's hear it for the little people. But you take note of it. It's definitely not a majority, but there are, more than a few that are not wild, clearly, about this newfound, respect for little people. And he says, when that has died down, "We would reward these adventurers with what is worthy of them and what the giants can provide. Greta Guldenfire, Selsig Mar, Uraash and River, please step forth. And the guards part in front of you, and there's you can walk up to the throne if you wish. The 3 giants in their respective thrones are looking down at you, all with smiles, but serious expressions. I mean, they're smiling, but they're not like, it's not goofy. And they await your response.
I just kind of look to the others. Like, were we getting paid for this?
We're expected to say something, right?
I don't.
Never get paid for this.
Thank you, almighty Hekaton.
He says, Drat, I've spilled water over my desk, and takes a moment to ask everyone to wait while he tries not to have his computer blow up.
Stop explaining. Stop explaining and do the thing.
Oop.
So quick table talk right now. Were we actually wanting to do this for a reward?
Oh,
I don't mind rewards. I can still give it to the poor and everything.
Yeah, I mean, Urash has got plans after this, so it's a very, very cute half ogre.
What exactly is fealty?
Waiting for him. Fealty, like not obedience. It's like what's a good word for it?
It's friendship, but compulsory.
Yeah, it's like compulsory friendship.
Compulsory friendship.
Because I wasn't really sure. So he just said like, we swear fealty to the little people, and then because I was a bit distracted by noises here, and by Ebenezer always leaving that door open.
Okay.
Fealty, the state of owing one's service to a king, queen, or other ruler. So basically, they owe us one. Is what they're trying to say.
Sorry about that.
I think we started well, but thank you.
Are you done?
Yeah, just give me a second.
Did you get out of the water?
I'm going to switch up cameras so that you are not Celsic and that Saber is not Urash. Okay. There we go. Sorry about that, chat. Yeah, I was like, that's not good. Anyway, so they await as you're sort of like talking with each other, and then you say what you said. At which point he beckons you forward, all of you forward, to stand like in front of the throne. What Izzy said was about that this is like the scene in Star Wars where they're, the end of Star Wars where they're da 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 da, where they're walking up to get the medals.
I just rewatched that recently.
Yep, that's what it's like. It's so they bring you forward, and do you all come forward? I shouldn't assume. Do you come forward?
Yes.
As you come forward with all the giants watching you, Hekaton brings out something to show you. Okay. And that is an echo machine that's closer to the person playing him. He brings out from the side of the throne what looks like a silver dragon claw. But I mean like life-size silver dragon claw. And he says, "This is the claw of the worm rune. It has stayed within my family and been within our giant kin for generations, and it has always been said that it would only be given to those who had warranted the highest possible respect. That, of course, applies to all of you. This claw will, I hope, assist you in the days to come, and this is your reward from the giants as a token of our appreciation for having helped avert disaster." And he hands forth what looks like a dragon's claw that has been coated with molten silver. It sparkles in the reflected light of the room. And as you do this, by the way, as he holds this out, a lot of people like, there's like a lot of whispering around the room, like, I can't believe they're going to, why would you give this to the little people? Like, there's a lot of
I look over to River, how she is reacting to having a silver dragon thing being handed over.
Neat.
Okay, good.
It looks like mine, only bigger.
It's true.
Yeah, it does, right? We thank you again, King Hekaton, but the biggest gift of today is seeing the giants still valuing the friendship with the little folk. And I hope that the years to come will deepen this friendship, and that we can help each other in the troubles that have stemmed from the recent confusion.
And he nods and he says, "Indeed, we have much that we must answer for. Something has gone badly wrong, I think, within my people, when the disappearance of even their leader can lead them to fall to squabbling." And his eyes kind of flicker over towards the open door, and you don't see anybody in particular behind you, but you do remember it was the room behind where you first met the two elder sisters, and so you don't know if that's what he's referring to, but he goes back and says, "It is clear that giants cannot survive in constant war with those around them. Either we will work in solidarity and care for each other, or we will fall. And so, yes, I pledge that we will do what we can to work towards peace with the little folk of the Sword Coast. And perhaps we may be able to find something lasting, something which would make even Anan the Allfather himself proud." And he says all that, and again, there's kind of a general polite applause, I think it might be said.
I nudge Greta a little bit and I go, "That was really good."
Thank you.
And he says, "Now I want to tell you mechanically about this claw that he's handing you. So this is called the Claw of the Worm Rune, and it has the following properties. The first is, this is called, it has 3 basic magical properties. The first is that there is a rune that's been inscribed on the outside, and that allows it to do 3 things. 1, as an action, you can point this claw at a dragon within 30 feet of you, and the dragon then has to succeed on a Constitution saving throw, or gain vulnerability to all damage types until the end of your next turn. So vulnerability means essentially double damage is what you would do to all damage types. And you can use this 3 times in a day, after which, it only works 3 times within a 24-hour period. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, while the claw is displayed upon your person, you have resistance to damage caused by any dragon's breath weapon. So if you have this on you, that will create resistance. And then the final thing is, and this is sort of the break glass in case of emergency thing, you can transfer the claw's magic to a place by tracing the worm rune on the ground with your finger. So you hold it with one hand, and with the other you draw the rune that you see that's on the claw. The point where you trace it becomes the center of a spherical area of magic that has a 100-foot radius and that is fixed to the place. The transfer takes 8 hours of work, and the claw has to be within 5 feet of you at all times while you're doing this. At the end, the claw is destroyed, and the area gains the following property. While in the 100-foot radius sphere, any dragon has disadvantage on saving throws and can have a flying speed no higher than 10 feet. So this is the, if I want to trap a dragon, this is what you would do with it.
The Ghostbusters Dragon Trap.
Exactly. The transfer does not produce bacon. I think in Unearthed Arcana there is a version of that, Vero, and I definitely think that that's something we should consider.
We would politely refuse this then, if it doesn't produce food at the same time.
Yeah. Unfortunately it does not.
We could have gotten a bacon trap.
I could have given you the Claw of the Bacon rune, and that would be a whole different thing.
Yeah, I mean...
surely you can make bacon from a dragon.
It's very delicious.
Are you sure that's really expensive?
Very chewy.
It's very chewy.
Yes, it's so hard to produce.
This is what the mechanical thing is. Now, obviously, only one of you, can carry this thing, so it's up to you as to who you would like to have carry it.
It's like half the size of a Celtic, right?
It's big, yeah.
Like half a Celtic big?
It's... I mean, it probably is about a Celsig big. I think for Celsig, it's like the equivalent of like a great sword. It's like a great claw,
It's a great claw.
It's like a great claw.
Ash, would you do the honors?
Yeah, I'll take it. It's fine.
I mean, it looks impressive.
I'm carrying that and the giant horn as well, so it's fine. It balanced me out a little bit, to be honest.
Urash, I also want you to make a Constitution saving throw as you take this claw.
Good.
Not a dragon.
Suddenly he reveals his true self. No, he's not a dragon.
Yeah, got something to tell you guys. Sorry.
Wait. Where was this?
I only said I was half orc.
Yeah, we never figured out what the other half was.
He's
No,
a
exactly.
dwarf.
No
It's
one
not
asked.
polite
Yeah.
to ask.
My Droken. Saving throw.
He's definitely an orc
Constitution
to
saving throw.
scale.
Where
Thank
was
you,
this
I'll be
claw
here.
when Imrith was in this room? Was Imrith making constitution saves the whole time?
That's a good question.
15.
So when, and that's good. That's exactly the number you needed.
Good.
When you take this claw, Urash, you feel a wave of pain go through you, and you're actually going to take 10 points of damage from it. But as you kind of stagger back, you also feel a warmth spreading through your body. And as it spreads, you also feel over time the pull, which has been sort of dragging at you now for months and months and months. This, you may remember, cursed thing, which has been pulling at you even though you didn't have access to it, the axe which was lost back at Duke Zalto's. You feel this, in essence, purged from your body. So this weapon, through the virtue of its magic, is so powerful that it basically purges any evil magic from the person who wields it.
So, as
That's a one-time only deal, by the way. You can't hand it around to everybody else to have it done. But,
Yeah.
So
It's like, and you get a purge, and
you get a purge, and you get a purge.
No, that's fine. Yeah. So as it inflicts damage upon me, I curse in Orcish and fall backwards. But then I kind of have this realization look on my face, and like there's a lot of suddenly you see Urash's like shoulders just rest a bit. Like he's constantly been holding a lot of tension in his shoulders and his neck for probably as long as you've known him. And suddenly he stands up and he's like, "What exactly was that?" And just before you answer that, hit point wise, how am I doing? Because I've still got myself on 0, so that's going to be an uncomfortable.
No, you were actually, all of you are back up to your maximum, and
Okay.
you know,
So
if
now
you
I'm
want,
on-
while we're talking more, you'll be able to roll your, level 9 hit points and all that stuff. But yeah, you
Is
were at your
this
maximum.
psychic damage that I've taken?
Yeah.
It is. Okay, cool. Then
Yep.
it's full damage. Cool.
So you're at 76 out of
76.
86 is what I have you
Yep.
at right now.
Yep.
But again,
My only weakness.
but otherwise, and you note, by the way, I don't know what the rest of you do, but the giants sort of watch you silently, and Hecaton sort of gazes at you dispassionately, and when you are sort of done and look up again, Hecaton just sort of nods slowly. The throne, the Wormskull throne in which he is sitting, is glowing a faint blue, and it's been doing that since you arrived. That's something which didn't happen while his daughter was sitting on it, by the way, while Sarissa was sitting on it. He, however, is the one who commands the Wormskull throne, and this thing is responding to him in some way. And so he sort of waits and then says, "There is no reason that we must ask you or would ask you for anything further, except there is one loose end that remains, and it is the loose end that brought us to this disastrous pass. I have spent time while you were recuperating, looking in the scrying pool, gathering information, speaking to my subjects, my vassals, speaking to my daughter, all of my daughters." And again, his eyes flicker out, past you again. He says, "And of course, my queen." And he looks over, and you have one of those, like, get you someone who looks at you the way Hecaton looks at his queen type of looks. Like, yeah, he's just clearly, like, just, head over heels. And so he looks at her and then looks back at you, and he says, "I refer, of course, to the treacherous Imrith." And the room goes deadly silent. Like, everyone is just like, okay. This treacherous beast that brought us nearly to the edge of ruin. This snake that wormed its way into the heart of Maelstrom. This snake must be crushed beneath our heel if we are ever to feel truly safe, and if I am ever to feel truly honorable again. and you hear a slight crack. And then as you look over, you can see that his right hand is slightly cracking the bones of the worm skull throne a little bit. Like white knuckling it is not the term. It's more than that, right? Then a couple of pieces of bone shower down from the chair. And he looks back at you and he says, I have discovered where Imrith has gone to ground. And though it is dangerous, I must let you know of this concern and ask whether you would assist us yet again. For this is not a threat simply to my people, but to all of us. The little people, too, will have to deal with Imrith's wrath, which will be great, I think. For Imrith was no ordinary dragon. And he stands up from the throne, and he holds forth his hand, and glowing in front of you in the middle of the room, and the throne glows blue, so presumably this is coming from the throne, you see an image, and I'm going to show you that image on stream here. As soon as I figure out how to spell it. Rith, yes. Imrith, right. Okay. So that is right there. Sorry, I had to find the thing. All right. This, and then this, and then Storm King's Thunder. Okay, and then this. All right, and it is... There we go. This picture of an intensely cruel blue dragon, enormous, appears before you. And you can see the expression of this beast as it crouches over these set of stairs. That picture you see looks almost like a kind of destroyed arena. And behind the blue dragon, you can see sort of clouds shaking and roiling. The other thing is that this dragon does not look unfamiliar to you. You think you've seen it one other time, and it is the time when you were at the Oracle, and this dragon broke through, and Harshnag, you may remember, apparently fell defending you from it as you were trying to escape. This is that same dragon. And it looks, ancient. And of course, as you know, the older the dragon, the more dangerous that it ultimately gets. And so you see this image, and then Hekaton waits as everyone, there's kind of a gasp, and some people are like talking, and you hear people sort of, angrily muttering to each other. And he says, Imrith is an ancient blue dragon. She is known as the Doom of the Desert. And she is called the Dragon of Statues because she has created living statues to guard her lair. For centuries, Imrith has waited, biding her time. This is not the first time that she has attempted to rise to control the Sword Coast. In fact, there was a time, even a decade ago, when she was allied with some of those who would have brought the Queen of Dragons, Tiamat, and only through the intervention of another party of little people was that plot thwarted. He glances over you, Urash, for some reason, you don't know why. He says, her lair is a ruined amphitheater. It is half buried in the cold desert stands northeast of Ascor. Now, I would like you to make for me here a history check, Greta, because Ascor may, trigger an alarm bell for you. We got an 11. I think you may actually, that's probably enough. Ascor was an ancient and abandoned dwarven city. And from what you remember of it, Greta, it was abandoned because it was wiped out by a dragon. Basically came in, slaughtered the dwarves that were there, and then took it over as its lair, which is not an uncommon occurrence for dragons to do to dwarves, sadly. But you do know, you've heard of Ascor before, although it's, it is ancient. It's been a long time since anyone's talked about or thought about it. You don't have anyone immediate in your family that you knew, but you certainly have heard, of the legend of Ascor. And he says, also, Imrith is, of course, a spellcaster, and like all blue dragons is immune to the damage of lightning and electricity. She has retreated back to this lair we have discovered, although to what end we cannot say. But no doubt she is nursing her grievance, and at some point she will rise again, even more powerful, even more dangerous. She will not make the same mistakes she did this time, for the giants will never trust her again. Therefore, there may be another war between dragons and giants, which would have the same effect that our ravaging across the Sword Coast would have had. The little people will be caught in the middle, and a battle between dragons and giants is not a place where little people would wish to be caught. Beyond this, I have my own personal reasons for seeing her ground beneath my foot. She must be destroyed. And it is here that I would turn to you. We will take ourselves. Our giants will be assembling a party, an attack team, to strike directly at her lair, and I would have you accompany us. The reason we do this is we believe that the way to show not only those who are within the ordning, but those whom you helped bring to heel, Duke Zalto and the other evil giant lords, that only a defeat of our greatest enemy, brought forth by giants and little people, will provide enough momentum to unify us both. There are many cities across the Sword Coast, Neverwinter, Waterdeep, Baldur's Gate, many others, who may not want to hear about our conversion. I fear that war will continue, and I will be hard-pressed to contain it among my people. If you accompany me, and we together destroy this snake, we can bring a lasting peace to the Sword Coast, for all of our people. I cannot order this of you, and I will not, but I ask it as a friend, and I await your answer.
I look at my companions. Well, at least we don't have to go alone this time.
I just immediately say, I'm in.
I look at Celtic. Celtic, we could clean out a dragon's lair.
Dragon Horde. Who are you? What are you done with Greta?
I know you by now. River?
But does dragon taste good?
You can find out.
He
I'd
says,
love to find out.
it's sometimes it can be if prepared in the right way. And then he kind of trails off as he sees people looking at him. He's like, but that, of course, is a discussion for another time.
Teach me your ways.
He looks. He
Father,
actually.
for loot, for food.
He looks at you, River, and he says,
Food.
I know the history of dragons and dragonborn is complex and difficult. I do not know your own feelings about this, River. I would not ask you to participate in something about which you felt uncomfortable, and I would only say that there are good dragons and bad ones, and that dragonborn themselves have suffered under the yoke of evil dragons in the past. But that said, I would not force you to do this either if you had discomfort towards it.
Way I see it, there are good folks and there are bad folks. And sometimes bad folks need to be set on fire and eaten. So I think that's what we're going to do.
He nods and he looks around. You hear kind of a pleased, like a few of the people you saw before, River, that were like, they're like talking to each other, like, oh, no, that's not bad, talking to each other. And Hecaton says, you can see, my brothers and sisters, that these have indeed been chosen well. They are the best of what little people provide, and we would do well to remember it, for we have shown the worst of what we are. And everyone falls like, quiet, like, You also note for the first time that this is not just storm giants. There are others there too, fire giants. You can see cloud giants there, a couple of hill giants as well. There are frost giants. There are different giants that are around the room. And probably a couple of them are the ambassadors that you might have met before, might remember meeting before. But he sort of nods at all of you and he says, If you would do this, then although you did not ask it, I wish to explain what rewards await you on the other side. Greta Goldenfire, your people have for too long been considered second, unnecessary, those who get in our way as giants. That will change. And indeed, Foltus itself, the god whom you revere, must be taken into account more by us. With Anan the All-Father's blessing, we will build a great cathedral to Foltus in the place of your choosing. It will be a cathedral larger than any humankind or mortal kind have ever produced upon the Sword Coast. Even the dwarves, I think, may not be able to surpass it, at least not in the outdoors. And we will do this at your direction.
Dear King Hackathon, a large building only casts a large shadow, and Foltus is a lot of light. If you really want to bring light to the people, bring light into their lives, use these resources for the greater good and not for the greater building.
And there's a murmur among the crowd, generally pleased, and Hekaton nods slowly and says, "You instruct me well, but then I will ask you to direct our path in terms of where that light may be shed. In that case, we will provide resources to you to spread the message of Foltus and his light, and it will be your determination as to where this light will be spread." And then he looks to Selsig and he says, "Selsig Mar, the halfling, the one who, as I am told, is nimble of mind and body." And he looks down at you and he says, "I am led to understand that you are somewhat of what my people say is a businessman. Is this true?"
I believe in recompense for services rendered, although some services are necessary to be offered freely, that business may even continue.
What business do you run at this time?
I have lofty ambitions, my lord, but modest. I seek to establish a modest gambling establishment. May someday retire when this is all over and live out my days, providing entertainment and luxury to those who seek it out.
And he kind of looks around, and a few people are, and you hear like there's a couple like, maybe from the Hill Giants, sort of like, what?
He has a license. It's all legal.
So, and Hekaton sort of considers and then says, "Very well. Then we will provide you something which may benefit your business. For we will bring you not only the ability to build a larger facility than you had before, we will also make way a ability to transport to that place. We will use this facility to allow you to bring customers to you. Perhaps we will call this, what is it?" And he listens, one of his advisors whispers in his ear, "A tourist bus is what it is called." And he nods slowly. "Very well. If you wish, we will provide you these benefits for your business."
It's very generous, my lord.
And he nods, and then he turns and says, "Why have the other two left their seats?" And his voice booms, and like rocks fall, and people are like, "Oh, why did they leave?"
It was
I
the
love that
stress
share.
they had. It was the stress, it just...
Right. It's like, I've just got to go somewhere first. Okay. While we're waiting for them to come back, I will say that you are watching D&D with GOG Storm King's Thunder. This is episode 272 of Pen and Pixels. Also want to thank Darksaber2K as always for handling Moobot and Dashboard. I think I forgot to mention that this time. But thank you as always. If you like what you've seen here, please follow us. Please support GOG by subscribing to us here, and please click through and check out our individual channels as well. Also be aware that we have always different things that are being cooked up by the GOG top brass, including Pyron and others for sales and various activities and contests and things like that. Pyron, do we have something at the moment that we want to talk about? Is there one particular thing? Or
yes. No? Yes. First of all, we have just recently welcomed new streamers to the channel, which are Virtute, who does a very Sunday stream. It's Ash Said Hi on Monday. She's our new retro queen. And our first Australian on the team, which is Fractal Mind Mike, who just... This is really depending on your time zone where he is, but he's in the slot between Kilgore and Freshwar. So it could be Monday your time. It could also already be Tuesday. And if you're Australian, it's already late evening Tuesday. So, but there he is. And we're also having a guest streamer
Did
this
you hire
Saturday.
a time traveler?
Yeah.
Yes, it's an Australian time traveler. And this Saturday, we're having another guest streamer coming in for one stream, which is Astro Annie, who brings all the positive energy. So please keep an eye on the schedule, because we're having so many great people coming up. And we also have some great events coming up that I'm not allowed to talk about. So I'm talking about great people instead.
That's good stuff. I'm very impressed with all the new folks that have come on board. It's great. I mean, the team is awesome. We know this already, but we'll just let you know. Okay, so what I was saying before, Urash, as you hurry back into your position, he says, as for you, Urash, I would ask what it is that you would wish from the giants. I know that my people and yours have had disputes in the past. Those will come to an end. But I am curious as to what else you would ask from the giants, if we are able to defeat Imrith as we hope to do.
Urash looks very far off into the distance for a second, and he looks back up at King Hecton and says, I would ask for one of the reasons why I started to become an adventurer in the first place. I have made a new tribe, I have achieved glory and honor, and I have attained the devoted sight of my patron, Tempest. But one of the reasons I actually started adventuring was to gain the strength to help my people back home. I am from a small northern village called Palashuk, and nearby that village is a rather large castle. Now, unfortunately, many years ago, before I was born, a necromancer of not small power took residence in that castle. And he preyed upon our village and the surrounding villages for experiments, victims, everything, and every raiding party that would go out, including the one my father was part of, never came back. So the day I got the news that he was gone, I picked up the woodsman's axe that was left behind, and I swore to my mother and my sister that I would come back as the greatest half-orc hero that ever lived, and I would rid the world of this necromancer. And I have been training ever since.
So he waits and he says, if this is true, then it appears to me that you have accomplished your goal of becoming the hero you wish to be. But if you wish it, I will send an army of my people to wipe this creature's foul castle from the world.
Urash doesn't really say anything, but there are streams of tears running down his face. And this isn't something that you guys have ever really seen before, unless he's incredibly wounded. But there is a very real vulnerability to him right now. And he smiles and says thank you.
And there's again a pleased murmuring in the crowd. And last he turns to River's empty spot and he says, it seems that River has been drawn away again by a little dragonling. No, he doesn't say that. We'll come back to River when she comes back here. So, Okay, so now the question is, what do you... Oh, wait. Okay, there we go. It's okay, I know you're dealing with the child. I was just... he also looks at River and says, last of all of these four, you are the one that is most enigmatic to me. You lived by yourself, alone off the land for some time. You have a great store of magical power, and some ancestral bond to the Dragonborn that even I cannot see all of. And so I would ask, what would you wish of the giants? What could we reward you if we defeat Imrith in this quest?
I don't really know that I desire anything from you. All I ever wanted was friends, and I already have some.
He nods slowly and he says, yes. I wonder if something can be done to better protect your friends and you, or provide you more shelter or safety once this is over. I will think on it. And he sort of like nods thoughtfully. And I will name you a friend of giants, for I have heard that whispering from this crowd, and it is an excellent idea. And yes, you are indeed a friend of giants. Okay. However, I do not recommend saying I'm very curious what a storm giant steak tastes like. That would not work out well. Okay. So he says all this, and then he looks down upon you and says, now, my friends, the decision must be made as to how we are to engage in this battle. I will leave Uthor in charge of Maelstrom. You may remember that was the uncle who was sitting around. I will leave Uthor in charge of Maelstrom, and I will set out with my 4 greatest warriors. And then he names them in turn. Nimir, Orlecto, Shaldur, and Vasha. Now these huge dudes step forward. Now Hecaton is still the hugest, but these guys are just like, they stand, like half a head taller than the giants that are next to them. And each one of them has an axe that is bigger than Urash. And they just all and the first one looks at Hecaton, the one that was referred to as Nimir, and says, we stand ready, my liege. We will destroy your enemies or die in the trying. And there's a general, murmur. So he says, in addition, I will accompany you. And there is more. And he takes out from the royal treasury, he says, 4 vials. And these are those giant growth potions. Celsic, I imagine your eyes light up at this. Like, woo! So he hands you each one of these. And he says, and actually this, I should say, this is to replace them. So if you already have one, I don't know if all of you have one. If you have one, then you don't get 2. This is to replace it if you've used them. So I want to make sure.
I think I'm the only one who used one.
Because the others still had it. Okay, yeah, sorry, you don't get 2. Yeah, sorry. So he replaces that everyone has got their Storm Giant potion, or their giant-sized potion. And he says, even with all of this, even with the worm claw, and he kind of nods, Urash, to your worm claw that you're holding on your back, even with your own power, and with the 5 giants who will accompany us, an ancient blue dragon like Imrith is quite a challenge. And we are going directly to her lair, the place where she will feel in some ways most protected. The question is how we would attack. I would ask for everyone's opinion. So Nimir, before anyone can say anything, is like, my liege, she must be wiped from the face of the earth. A direct frontal assault is the way. We will stride forward, attracting her attacks. We will cast them aside as the raindrops they truly are until we bring the force of the storm upon her. And there's a general, like people clapping, like, yeah, everyone's like,
this guy sounds like he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, let him do that. Let him do that. We didn't come from the back.
Or she sets the entire line on fire.
That's
Yeah, so he's asking for opinions. So at that point, you can speak if you wish, Elsig. Like, that was Nimir just sort of being like, this is how we do it, you know?
Well, I'm saying that to my companions, but just as his speech ends so everybody hears it.
Oh, so it's like really audible? So go ahead and say that again.
They're loud, so they're being loud, so I'm saying it so my companions can hear it, and he stops, and everyone just hears, the entire line gets set on fire.
And it kind of echoes a little bit, and Nimir kind of slowly, like, God damn it, camera, focus. Sorry. Give me a second. Camera is giving me grief. Why is it doing that? All right, there we go. So Nimir sort of like slowly looks in your direction, and the other giants in the room, like you hear a slight creaking of the floor as they all turn to face you, and then Hecaton clears his throat. There may be some wisdom in this, Nimir. And Nimir is kind of like, doesn't just kind of like does a couple of false starts, like,
If it is your wish to go directly on front, I think we should respect that, you being an honorable warrior. But I will also be very honest that we then, in that case, might use you as a distraction while we not do that.
I'm just somewhat concerned that if there's a charger, I shall try and beat them there, and we might need him nearer us.
I mean, it's happened before.
Yeah. We have got Claudia.
We all remember the fight with Droofy, right? where we realised that my running speed was significantly greater than yours.
Oh, man.
So we should take the ponies, the horses.
And he says, as far as that is concerned, I think you will find that our travel there will take somewhat of a different path. We will ride on suitable steeds here from Maelstrom. And as you're all thinking about like what a suitable steed would be from a place that's undersea, he sort of looks at all of you and is like, if you wish, Nimir and the rest of us can provide this, what did you refer to it as? Diversion. And the four big dudes are all like, they kind of grumble to each other like, yeah, diversion. And Hecaton, until Hecaton looks at them, and then they're like, and then they stop. And he says, if you wish, we can provide this diversion while you sneak into Imrith's lair. It is, as you can tell, not to the desire of all of my people, but we will defer to you in this, for it is the little people who have brought us so far to this point.
Maybe a good time to call in other favors we're owed.
Yeah. Also, I don't think we could hope to outsmart an ancient dragon. But still...
We've done it so far.
I don't know. We're pretty smart.
See that king over there? We did that.
And the queen.
Okay,
I will
rephrase that.
They nod.
I'm not sure we could outsmart an ancient dragon in direct combat. But I still think there is worth in attacking from as many sides as possible because, just she has a physical form and the head is on the front, so attacking from all sides could just be an advantage. And yes, maybe we should call in.
I think calling in some favors. Yeah.
Hey, Dragon's
Rush puts his hand up.
Flight is dangerous. Maybe if we could trap her in a lair.
Maybe we could feed her a bard just to distract her. Oh, did I say that?
Or just in general.
So you raised your hand, Rush, you said?
Yeah. So I asked King Hecton. I have a vague memory, and there's this like lightning bolt moment where it's like, what did you mean the Lord's Alliance? And he just blurts that out.
He says, I was deceived. The Lord's Alliance I had been told, wished to meet with me to see if some peace, long-lasting, could be worked out between my people and the little people of the Sword Coast. While I was there, I was betrayed, subdued, captured, and brought to the ship in which you found me. It was not until I had been awake that I was aware that it was not the Lord's Alliance which had done this at all.
Okay, so it definitely wasn't the Lord's Alliance that had done anything to you, just making sure.
Not unless you know further information.
No, just
deep suspicion fills his face. Wait, did they? No.
Just wondering who we can call in favors from, really, for extra reinforcements. Like, I don't want to say, hey, let's try the Lord's Alliance. That's a name that's come to my mind, if it's actually the really wrong thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
How about Lord Roaringhorn? You're his relative, after all.
Yeah, apparently so. I'm not sure he's got many armies, but we can definitely ask. Who else do we actually know? What about, is there anyone left in Brinchanda, like the 10 towns? Maybe we could rally some of the 10 towns.
Don't the Harpers have a dragon?
Harpers as well, yeah. So there's potentially people in 10 towns. There's the Harpers.
They keep alleging to help us.
Mr. Zeno brings up Gleek. Yeah, the Gleek and the Goblins.
Yeah, Gleek and the Goblins. Not Harshnag, the other one.
The
other member of Force
dwarf that I had a very awkward conversation with, yes.
Yeah. He's not here for a long time. He's here for a good time. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Calixus.
Yeah, the good time. About. Calixus.
And his ice lizard, Bella. Who can forget Bella?
And his ice lizard, Bella. Yeah. Who else have we?
Our friend with the flying castle.
Yeah, Zephyros as well.
Now, when you say Zephyros, because you're saying this out loud, right?
Yes, you were saying
this. So this is an out loud conversation.
When you say Zephyros, he says the Hecaton like visibly like Zephyros. You know Zephyros?
I point to the horn. I'm like, yup, that's what summons his giant flying castle. He's been helping us this entire time.
We even had breakfast with him.
He's been invaluable.
Unbelievable. Yes. Zephyros, you must know, was my tutor. When I was but a young giant, it was Zephyros who instructed me in the better ways of leadership. And then there came a stage where he was asked to leave. He was always eccentric. But if it is true that he has assisted you, then... And you kind of... And you see him looking over at his wife. Make an insight check for me, please, everybody.
Inside, do I see the thing?
He's looking at his wife.
I'm going to reduce this picture for a minute.
His wife is tall.
Very, very tall.
His wife is a tall, giant lady.
I think the only one who really sees this then probably, it looks like to me, is Greta. And when he looks at his wife gives him this look, which you're pretty sure is the universal sign for, I've told you, and only now do you realize that what I've been telling you is right, type of thing. So he kind of looks over and he says, there are some who believed I should have forgiven Zephyros before now. And he looks back at you. It is perhaps time to do so. Yes, he could be an asset if he will come. Will he listen to your call?
Usually does.
As long as he can find somewhere to land.
Or at least mostly land. He's not really picky.
Has somebody picked up the griffin you smacked? Has somebody picked up the griffin you smacked?
You're saying this to Hecaton?
Yes.
He says...
Yeah.
Not unless you did. He says, I did not. I am sorry for the loss of that creature.
In an advanced state of unconsciousness.
I am sorry for the loss of that creature. Was that one of Zephyros's then?
Yes.
It's kind of the second time we've got one of his pets killed.
Gives a long sigh. Zephyros has always been fascinated with griffins. I have much to apologize for, as I already knew. But to think that I must do it to Zephyros... well, if I can attack a dragon, I suppose I can apologize to him. I will do what I can to patch things up between the two of us. If you are able to bring him, I will make my apologies known.
Okay.
What is the name of the red dragon? other than Sparkles.
Oh, the one with the
that
bad
one.
breath. The one with the bad breath, right?
Yeah.
You mean
the
Griffins?
Sparkles?
Are you talking about?
No. The red dragon, Sparkles. I can't remember his actual name.
Oh, you mean Bronze? You're talking about Kalismana?
Oh, Bronze. Thank you, Kalismana.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
I was like, I don't think a red dragon is hanging out with you. I was like, wait.
Yeah. Sorry.
But we had like the henchman of a red dragon visiting us twice.
Yep.
Oh yeah, the dragon cult, was it?
Something with bad breath is stuck in my mind.
That's right.
See?
Dragon cult.
Bad
We're
breath.
gonna just put those in the
Evil
maybe
air.
column.
No, evil air.
Evil air. That was it. Yeah. Bad breath. Evil air.
Evil air.
Cloth. Cloth.
Oh yeah, Cluth.
Oh, okay. I was because I'm looking. I'm like, what? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yep. That's right.
Cluth. So we're just like, there's like a little huddle going on right now in the middle of this this chamber, and we're just like, so we've got Zephyros, we've got
This
Calixtus.
takes a moment. We're bad with names.
Yeah, we've got Calixtus, we've got the ice, we've got
Who's that
Calixtus
guy
and
that we
Bella.
know?
Look, I've been hitting the head a lot, okay? It's very hard to remember names. I barely remember my own. Or my name's not Mr. Roaringhorn. Gleek and Goblins.
Are we making a list?
Yeah, I'm genuinely making a list. So at the minute, we can think of Zephyros, Calixtus and Bella, potential help from the Roaring Horns, who knows, Gleek and the Goblins, Harpers, because they've done a grand total of nothing other than, giving us the best companion we could actually ask for so far. Kalismana.
We got the best of the Harpers. There is nothing left.
That's very true. We got the heart of the Harpers. That's what we got, people. At a push, like the Dragon Cult, so someone of evil air and Cluth the Dragon. That's a potential thing.
But
and
they wanted
to
they wanted to reunite the dragons. I'm not sure if they're willing to fight. Let's not.
Yeah, I'm not sure they're willing to argue with a giant king, though. I'm not sure. Like now they know that he's there.
Yeah, but if they join forces with Imrith, we might be worse off. So I would not try to contact them.
That is true. That's why they're in the maybe column. And also, if there's anyone in the leaders of the 10 towns, like Bryn Shander, if I assume that's still standing, I don't know. We left it in a pretty precarious point, so yeah, we could go try rally some people from there, see what resources they've got, and we have we've got an airship, not an airship, we've got a thingy now, Wizard's Tower, and if we kind of know that Imrith is going to be brooding in her lair for a bit, then kind of licking her wounds a little bit and planning her next move, we've got some time to not mop up the side quests, but get as many allies on the side as possible.
Yeah, I mean, some of the side quests might have gotten quite easier right now because of the giant situation.
I assume they're like timed things, some of them. They're just like, oh, you've not done that, so you can't do that anymore, but it's entirely
There's a
possible.
hole in the ground where this town was.
Yeah.
We could still do things like find the giant stronghold in the east.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Do you remember when I was writing a journal for all of this?
I have it. I'm looking at the journal right now.
Are you? Brilliant.
Yes.
Good.
I'm telling you, Trello is awesome for this. If you get a Trello board, it's awesome.
Yeah,
we should do this. We should do this next time.
Oh yes, we were going to do this 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh well, we still have another 2 years. So where's the problem?
Yeah, I need to still identify that weird axe I picked up from Droofy.
You just want to drag this out so we don't have to start as level 1 characters in a new campaign.
I don't want to start as level 1 character. I seriously don't want to.
I think when our glorious leader is back, we should ask if they believe that Imrith will stay put for a bit and how long. Because if it's like, oh, dragons take a long time over things, so it's probably going to be about 6 months. Or it's going to be like, you've got about 3 days. That limits our options.
I mean, they've been completely scuppered on every front, so they may be seeking vengeance, if nothing else.
That's true, and Imrith is very much backed into a corner right now, so it's probably going to be...
Imrith's probably expecting people to come after them, so they might be moving to reinforce or strike first.
Mm.
Oh, and so that not only Saber and I are inflicted, you all know Pokemon, right?
Yes.
Have a look at the picture of the blue dragon. The head looks like a Nidoqueen.
Yes.
So,
yes, it absolutely does. I giggled at that when you said it. Yep, I giggled at that when you said it.
Just so that we're clear on this.
I've been getting a lot of can't unsee, can't unhear moments lately.
Yeah. And I mean, that is a giant nose horn.
That is a giant nose horn.
That is a giant nose horn. That must be worth a lot of money.
So what are we thinking? Are we thinking we try and gather as many people as possible? I'll take Cluth and the Dragon Court off of this, actually.
Yeah. I mean, if the giants are like we need to move fast, then we just go with 5 giants, which seems like.
I mean, that's
he's
more
the
than
fucking king. He should have an army, right?
Yeah, that's more than we've had. So, and we'll have Zephyrus with us as well, presumably. So
technically, we'll have 4 additional giants because we all have giant potions. So
very true.
That's a thing. So we'll have 9 giants.
I still don't know.
Even though I spent the whole of the last fight as everyone's getting beaten up, going, drink the potions! And everyone's like, no, we'll need them later. And you could have got it replaced. Just saying.
Well,
I didn't know that. Okay. Otherwise, I would have landed on that boat as a giant. I swear to God.
Just a giant hole in a sinking boat.
You'd have basically seen, to use a thematic reference, it's like when the Hulkbuster lands in Avengers. It's just that massive robot just lands on the floor. It would have been like that.
It's the thought is gone. Let's continue.
Can I just comment on the fact that our glorious leader is on a landline? How nuts is that? That's not a smartphone. What is that thing?
He's feeling retro.
He's a professor. Of course he has a landline.
Yeah.
Of course he has a landline.
I'm disappointed it's not like one of those gilded ones, like with the old rotary phones.
I know, right? Like, missed opportunity here.
Arvanelleron speaking. Office of Arvanelleron. Windco Studios, how may I help you?
Ah, that's the one.
Yep.
I wonder if I had the time to get a long rest and reskill my spells a bit, because I would shuffle some things around, I would say, for the next fight.
I thought he said that we are rested.
We are rested.
I need to make a new...
He says we're healed.
This is really not good in Roll20. Like switching spells around is just not good.
To metagame a little bit, we haven't applied a level up yet, so there's that as well. So we're gonna have to have
just done that only because mine is literally add hit points and 1 skill. That's it. I get very little at higher levels.
I actually get some new spells, one of which can be from any school of magic.
How exciting!
That is fun.
So I have an entire spell book to go through before I can finish my level up. I
get flame strike
that's not a quick decision.
Flying, but I'm not sure how many spell slots I get. I will have to look that up.
Like, do I want healing? Because obviously you always look, when you're looking at things like spells, you're always like, what would have come in handy in the last fight? And it's like, healing? Yes.
Yeah, probably.
Something that might set people on fire? Yeah.
Well, dispel magic, actually. Because then you could have gotten Urash out of his stone issue.
That's very true. That's very, very true. Or something like hold person, or something like just to freeze that dude where he was stood. So I could have finished the job instead of it being an environmental kill. I was so annoyed with that. I mean, it was a Hitman-esque environmental kill, right? It's like an accident has happened and no one has seen it. He just like tumbled off the side of the ship.
We're not guaranteed that he's dead, to be fair. He might well turn up at Imrith's hideout.
He was not a well man, and he's in the middle of the sea, surrounded by sea creatures.
He did plenty. Yeah, but they were on his side.
He was, true.
Then
we assume they were on his side.
We
didn't see that.
That's very true.
We don't know that happened, though.
Can I point out that I'm going to learn Flame Strike?
Sorry about that,
and
everybody.
Flame Strike is not like have a little sword with strike, but think more of tactical nuke, like air strike. About flame strike.
Someone's talking about level 9 stuff. I can already tell. Yeah, sorry. I had to take that. There's a house related thing. So yes. Where were we? We were talking.
So we were wondering. Yes. Yeah. So we were wondering. We've drawn up a very short list of the people we've not offended, and we would very much like to know from King Hecaton. Do we think there's ample time to visit multiple people, like multiple potential allies, or is this a case of this attack has to happen like right now, like we're literally loading the boat?
He shakes his head and says, I do not believe that this is something which requires an instant attack, although I would not wait for weeks. At the moment, we are watching Imerith, and if Imerith comes from her lair, then we will know and be able to react accordingly. So I would say you have the chance to at least speak to some of your allies. You'll have the opportunity to assemble some of them before this happens. But again, I would not wait too long. And I would also say, if you wish to be able to have this diversion created that you spoke of, perhaps the less is more. That is to say, the larger group of people, the more attention it is likely to attract. If that's what you're looking to do, of course, then certainly, as many of the little people as you can bring on board, the better.
Okay. Are you aware of the dragon Talismana?
And he kind of like narrows his eyes and, I don't believe I know this one, no.
Okay. I was just wondering if you had any specific way of, if he's quite an enigmatic figure and he appears to like involving himself in other people's business quite a lot. So I didn't know if you knew.
Not enough on the same time.
Except when help's required.
And he says, if he's a dragon, it's not to be surprised. Dragons are, well, whimsical might be the best way to put it. Known best to themselves. And when they're at their worst, well, you saw what Imerith did for yourselves.
So I turn to the rest of the group.
Do you have a way of contacting Talismana?
You asked that to Hecaton, or who'd you ask that to?
River. Do you have a way of contacting Talismana? Maybe with the Harper magic pin or something?
Oh, it's not magic. It's just pretty.
Of course.
I mean, like in the past, normally I would just go up to his tower and yell and do this. But I don't think he's there anymore, because last time I yelled and did that, he wasn't there. Mm. And that made me really sad, because Sparkles and I were bros.
Mm.
We could try again, though. They have a little teleporty thingy in there, so if he's not there, we'll just teleporty thingy somewhere else.
That's true. I forgot about that, actually. There is teleporters now, isn't there? There's fast travel points.
Yep, I've still got the key.
Excellent.
So where is the nearest teleporting point?
Oh, we're underwater, so a ways away.
Yeah, so it's not nearby.
Unless the Harpers have one here. I look around.
She's got lifting boxes.
Yeah, a couple of the giants are like... Suddenly a sniper appears from Shadowrun and attacks. Damn it!
So I think, so turning to Hecton, I think what we're going to try and do, we are going to try and go and gather some allies if we don't have an immediate need to leave right now, because we have a short list of people who may be able to offer aid, even if it's more of a distraction, and taking out some of Imerith's minions and these living statues that you mentioned, so that a smaller group of people, and I kind of look at all of us, I say, i.e. us, could sneak in somewhere and take out the real threat.
But we do also understand time is of the essence, because Imerith is either plotting revenge or fortifying her position as we speak. I would not be surprised.
If her position is a cave, we should just get a lot of dynamite. That would solve a lot of problems.
Do you know anybody with dynamite? That's a solidly serious question that Urasha just asked you.
Yeah, I actually
Where to make things go boom.
Do you think we could steal anything from Duke's Alto? Do you think he has any like exploding red barrels that we could just yoink out of that?
Couldn't we do the thing we did to blow up his statue?
I can't remember what we did to blow up his statue.
I remember we blew it up. I don't remember the steps. There was a lot going on.
I remember we damaged it. I think we dropped the sword on it or something like that.
I think I dropped a rune of warding on it.
That was it.
Yep.
And we blew up a tower. We're good at blowing stuff up.
There we go.
Yes,
if
we
it's
are.
a cave, there we go. Problem solved. You only need one big pile of dynamite.
I look at Greta. I'm like, how many of those glyph thingies do you have?
The thing is, it takes a moment to prepare them, if you remember. So, and I cannot move them far from where I prepare them, so I cannot prepare them in advance.
So you can put them on like a rock and then throw the rock.
Not
like
very far.
Grenade, maybe.
The problem is not very far.
Okay.
It's
so this could work, but it may not.
Yes.
Plan A, try to make everything explode.
It's better odds than we've had.
Once the spell is spoken, it can only be moved for a certain direction before it just goes boom. I don't know why, though. We could, like I said, it depends on how close we get to the dragon before she realizes we're there. Then I could prepare one as like a, if dragon steps on you, please blow up. That would completely be possible.
If dragon becomes hostile, please explode.
Yeah, well.
How would Imrith react if the entrance to her lair was on fire, do we think?
Don't know. It depends on how many entrances there are. Or if it's a lair, if it's a cave. Because from the image in the scrying pool, that looked like a damaged arena, so like a big bowl, basically. And I don't know many dragons that would... Wow, I don't know many dragons, but... I don't know many dragons that would willingly... I don't know many creatures that would willingly put themselves in a vulnerable position. Like, if they can fly, surely you wouldn't care about a cave, right? Like, you want to be able to just... Oh, no, danger, bye. Actually just flapping his arms like a dragon.
Maybe if we know that she had a very favorite food, like maybe she likes a ham, we could prepare a ham with a warding rune and just leave it there. And,
yes,
and if swallowed by dragon, please explode.
I think that Imrith's favorite food is gutsy adventurers or halfling.
Indigestion is a killer.
I'm pretty sure that dragons aren't picky. I think if you just put food there and leave it, that eventually, right? Like at some point, she's gonna get hungry.
Can we guarantee the right dragon eats it?
How many dragons are there?
Well, we know at least 2, and we know of a 3rd.
No. I mean, like in the lair of hiding. How many dragons are there?
Okay, so let's try to assemble some allies, maybe like Sephiroth and Kalismana, or what his name was. I pronounced it correctly, didn't I?
No.
I did not.
Sephiroth.
I will not talk about him anymore. You see, that's supposed to happen.
Just the guy in the castle, all right?
The man in the tower.
Man in the tower. The man in the high castle. Hey-oh.
Man in the high castle.
All right. So, okay. So the beef of boom. That's exactly how it's gonna go. I also like the idea that this would basically be like picking up a crumb from the floor and being like a ham, thanks, like for a dragon. In any case, so all right, the party is going to assemble this. So is the party going to assemble? And all of a sudden, I'm imagining from Mass Effect 2, the suicide mission, assembly thing.
Exactly what I had in my head.
Right? Like that's what we're Listen, we're building up to the Mass Effect Remastered Edition, so I mean,
pretty much, yeah.
Oh man, which is still one of the great music themes of all time, by the way. The end of that game. Absolutely, it's a great game. So in any case, Avengers Assemble. Exactly, Lone Wolf. Exactly. All right. So Hecaton basically agrees with you. Now he brings you to show you what it is that they're actually going to be using to travel when they actually go to the lair from Maelstrom. And he uses a special kind of magical sphere to preserve the air while he sort of brings you into this chamber that's completely flooded. It's a little troubling, frankly, to be in the middle of this sphere, but it works perfectly. And he shows you what the giants are going to be using, and that presumably, if you went with them, of course, that's what you would use. He is going to, there are five large whales, like massive, like sperm whales, these massive blue and white, right, whales that they're going to ride on the backs of to the Whalebone Islands. And at the islands, he tells you, they mount rocks, which are these enormous, not the rocks the mountains, rocks the birds. So if any of you have ever seen the classic 70s movie Sinbad, think about those like massive rocks, right? Those huge birds, and fly the remaining distance to Anarok. So that's the plan. Whales to the islands, rocks to Imrit's lair. That's what they're planning to do when they themselves go. Because teleporting, they're not going to be able to teleport right next to Imrit's lair. And they're teleporting to like where you folks go is not really an option for most of the giants because they, the Harper's teleportation circles are like small, for normal sized creatures, not giant sized creatures. And so this teleportation magic that they use, the conch of teleportation, will allow them to transport to different giant lords like Duke Zalto or the Hill Giant's lair, etc., but not necessarily in the same places that the Harpers had their teleportation. So that's what the giants are planning to do in terms of travel.
Okay. What was the queen's name? Neri, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Queen Neri, if you had a moment in private, that would be wonderful.
Of course, she says. And so she, takes you off. At this point, Harshnag, not Harshnag, sorry, Freudian slip. Harshnag is sadly not with us. Hecaton brings the bubble back into actual air and allows you to get out. And Queen Neri is able to go with you. Now, do you want just you or like you and Celsic and River to go with her?
If the others want to join, they can of course join. I just didn't want Hecaton.
Well, you said, can we have a moment alone? So I'm just going to leave you to it.
Okay. Yeah, I meant away from Hecaton, but if it works out that way, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, cool.
Queen Neri, we're only going with 4 giant guards, as well as they might be and what they do. And considering that some of the other giant lords also seem to be conspiring against Hecaton, maybe while we're moving on Imrith, you could make sure that nobody, attacks us from behind.
And she smiles and says, "Indeed, we have already begun doing this. When Hecaton returned and learned of the treachery in his kingdom, he was so enraged that he made several orders. I am sorry to say that his nature is not easily tamed." And she sort of walks with you over to this one room and draws this curtain. And looking in, you see what first looks like just like a pile of clothing. And then you realize that what it actually is a pile of giant bodies that are piled up. And you see a lot of fire giant and frost giant there. And she kind of closes the curtain and she says, "We are already taking steps to ensure loyalty and obedience and the return of the Ordning. So, fear not. I think the other giants will be occupied, though of course nothing is always certain."
Queen Neri, among these dead giants, is there by chance a cloud giant called Blifkafkas?
And she kind of looks through and she opens the curtain again as if looking anyone got a Blagathkas? She closes again and says, "I am sorry. I do not know if one of that name is there. You are welcome to search if you wish." And you're looking at this pile of 75 giant bodies, piled up.
Blifkafkas killed his son in the oracle room at the Eye of the All-Father, and the son's spirit is still there and looking for revenge. That's why I was asking, just in case that revenge has by chance happened by now. That would have been nice.
That is troubling. I will ask Hecaton of this. Perhaps he will know. The name sounds somewhat familiar to me, but I do not know for certain why.
Okay, thank you very much. That was all I was asking about, because 5 giants is more than we had before, but if we had to fear the giant lords also coming after us, it might not be enough.
She nods and she says, I would assume that the giant lords, if anything, will be consolidating their positions. Those who fell to quarreling amongst each other will fall back in line when it is clear who is in charge. And those who plotted directly against us, well, and she kind of just like looks meaningfully at the closed curtain behind her. And then back.
Okay.
And she says,
Is Lord Zoltan among those?
She says, no, Duke Zolto has not yet been brought to heel. And Hecaton is not sure yet what he will do with him. Zolto has always been a particular thorn in our side, but he is powerful and commands great loyalty. We can, of course, bring him to heel, but we need to be careful. If we create open rebellion among the fire giants, then we will be no better off than had we left them as they are. There is a little bit of diplomacy required, and in fact, my daughter Sarissa will be managing that. Hecaton said the best way to be diplomatic was to punch Zolto in the face, then put him into his own lava pit until he had learned some manners. I convinced him this would perhaps not lead to the result he wanted.
If Duke Zolto, for diplomatic reason, proposes something like a marriage to his son, don't go for it.
And she chuckles and she says, Duke Zolto's son?
Yeah.
No, I do not think we will be pairing any of our children off to him. Although my eldest, and she kind of like all of a sudden is like,
Just don't.
But then she smiles and says, you need not fear us. But I am surprised, Greta. Can it be that you have spent so much time around my people that you now understand us politically and otherwise better than any of the rest?
No. I don't think this is something that is particular to giants.
And she nods and says, perhaps not. I am most glad that the little people have shown how similar we and the big people can be. And sadly, I wish we had not shown how savage we can still be as well. I hope you will not think ill of all of our kind. It is difficult at times to remind everyone that we are part of a larger tapestry and not the only thread that weaves it.
Duke Zolto keeps several of the small people as slaves. And that is something that might stand in the way of the friendship between the small people and the giants, and that is something to think of.
Slaves? Do you mean those which have been imprisoned against their will?
Imprisoned and put to work against their will.
And you can see her expression hardens, Greta, and she says, I did not know of this, but this is forbidden in the ordning. I will speak to Hecaton of it. There must be no slaves held anywhere, big or little. I will personally see to this.
Thank you.
She says, I will make sure that we track down and do a full investigation. Anyone who may have died or been killed in the process of dealing with Zolto. Any, perhaps, burnings of homes or villages or places where others stayed. Any kind of damage which may have been done, accidentally or otherwise, will be traced back to its source. And great vengeance will be visited upon whoever that is.
Rightly so.
I have this image of you being like, great, I'm
Nope. I'm all for justice, completely fine with this. What comes.
All sounds good for justice. All right.
But I'll take down the blue dragon before that, so as long as it's not swift justice, I'm fine.
It'll be fine. Oh yeah, fine, as long as it's just justice at some point.
Yeah. I have stuff to do before justice comes, so
right. It's the slowly timed backhand of justice as opposed to the swift backhand of justice from Minsk. Okay. So, all right, you speak with her. Now, Celsi, Gorash, and River, do you have any other things that you want to do before we talk about your assembling the allies before building other things together? I meant in Maelstrom specifically.
Not personally, no.
Not really.
Okay. All right. Well, then in that case, what I'm going to ask is, how do the four of you want to split this up? So do you have like, I know you were taking notes down on this, Mike. Do you have like a list of, okay, we want to go see this group, like, and you probably, depending on who it is, have time to maybe visit a couple, probably not all of them, if you had to guess, but definitely you have time to visit a couple, maybe 3 of those groups. So are there ones that you want to prioritize or not? I guess I would ask.
I'd say Zephyros is a must.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Zephyros is going to be, definitely the first one. I'm going to just very quickly share this list in the Zoom chat.
Okay.
So that you guys can see it. Obviously,
Could also
chat
copy
will
it
be able to see
into.
it.
We could also copy it into Twitch chat, so that the
Do that
viewers
now.
also know who we're thinking of.
I will do
There
that.
you go. So that is, I've just done
Oh,
it.
cool.
So that's, so it's not a list anymore in Twitch chat, but you get the idea. So we've got Zephyros, we've got the Harpers and Kalismana, we've got the 10 Towns, we've got Calixus and Bella, Gleek and the Goblins, and I thought the last choice would be Church of Tempest, because there may be people willing to come to arms for us at the Church of Tempest. You never know.
Might be good to have a god on our side.
Well, yeah, it's always a bit
And you
helpful.
shouldn't complain when he sets things on fire.
Appropriate things going on fire, I have no problem with.
I just raise a hand really slowly. I'm like, I never complained. I thought it was pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie. I think Zephyros is definitely the first one, but I don't know where we should go from there.
I don't see us getting a lot of help from the others, sadly. I mean, the Harpers, they'll just go, but we have already helped you, and provide no evidence of that.
Yeah.
So, River, could you, if maybe Salty could give you the teleport key, could you maybe check in on the Harpers if they can send any help, and be it, I don't know, weapon stuff, armor, anything, potions, people, I don't know. Could you check in on them?
Yeah, I could try. No promises though.
Okay.
If, just to River a second, if you see Sparkles, and could you ask them for help as well, either from them or any other dragon folk that they may know? Because any additional help would be great.
Yeah, I'll jump in and see Sparkles. Isn't there a pony as well?
Yes, but maybe this is not the place to bring the pony.
Okay, I will
Even
just
one so
check in
brave as
on the
Bill.
pony.
Also, the pony is not there. We took the pony already. The pony is in the city where we went to the gambling thing on the ship.
Yes.
So
that's
the
very
pony's
true.
just
The pony
been
is safe.
hanging out.
The
Okay.
pony is fine.
stable.
We checked on that and we
Remember, I
paid
used
them.
speak with animals on it, and it's been kept in like the
Oh,
height
that's
of stable
right.
luxury. Yeah.
I
Wasn't it
remember.
the same town you got your rat from?
Yes.
Yeah,
And
Mrs.
socks.
Squeak Pants.
It's where we got the socks. And we didn't care. We didn't take. We still have the dwarf waiting for the good rope.
I think it was Neverwinter, right? That you did that in? I believe. I think it was Neverwinter, not
I think
Waterdeep.
Neverwinter was
Neverwinter was
definitely-
Fluffball the goodest boy.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's probably where we did quite a lot of that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that wasn't the same place we went onto the gambling ship. That was somewhere else, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Let's do-
Yartar, I want to say.
That was
Yatar, I
Yartar,
think.
yep.
Yatar, yes.
That
That's
was it,
right.
So
that was it,
pony
yeah.
is in Yatar.
Cool. So we know where the pony is.
Sephiroth.
Sweet roll. Roll is in Yatar.
Sweet roll the
Urash?
roundest boy.
Sweet
Urash,
roll
could
around.
you maybe talk to Sephiroth? Because I have to admit, I'm really fearing how he might take the loss of another griffin.
Yes, I will. So I'll take Zephyros, River, if you take the Harpers, and hopefully Kalismana.
Did I miss where we're telling people to go?
What?
Like
No, we haven't
we're
decided that
asking
yet.
for help, but are we
No.
saying like meet us
Like-
at X destination or what?
Yeah.
Ooh, yes, we should
Yeah,
do
we
something
haven't- we
like
haven't
that. Where do we
decided that
regroup?
Yes. Okay. So where should we send people?
at the final battle.
Yeah, just meet us at the final battle. You'll know where it is.
Yeah, you'll know where it is. Trust me, you'll know where it is.
Look for the big glowing red skull on your map, and it'll be there.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Don't you have a waypoint?
Just follow the boss music.
Quest marker.
Just load your autosave. You'll be right there.
There might be a cutscene though.
Unskippable cutscene. God damn it! All right.
So maybe we should meet near where the dragon is hiding, but not directly there.
We get King Hecton or someone to point to a map where
we shall rendezvous.
Oh, I've forgotten her name again. The dragon's name.
Imrith.
Where Imrith? Sorry, my brain's not working at the minute. Where Imrith? Where Blue Dragon Lady? Where Danger Lizard? Right, where the Danger Lizard lives.
But maybe Sephiroth could actually take like our group and our allies with the tower, because if the giants are arriving on rocks, and I know where this dwarven city is? Where is this dwarven city that Imrith is eating up?
It is give me 1 second actually, so I can track that down, because it doesn't immediately make it clear in here. So, right. And that way I'll be able to place it. Okay. Northern shores of the Narrow Sea. So it's very far north, actually, near the Frozen Sea, which is why when we think desert, like ice desert, like more than sand desert.
Oh, right, I see.
Oh, wonderful. So we need warm clothes.
Yeah, let me see if I can put...
I just point to my boots. I'm like, I'm covered. I got it. I got toasty feet, people. I got toasty feet. Not only have I got the best boots, but in these boots, I got the best socks.
Yeah, socks!
Everyone loves a callback.
It is good stuff.
I've lost Roll20. I've gone completely off the rails. I've lost Roll20. There it is.
There we go. All right. So if I can find the link here. Okay. Yeah, but can you zoom out a little bit? It's like, here, let me show you very zoomed in. I'm like, okay, great. That doesn't help me at all. Okay. All right. So if we look, I'm going to bring you all to the Sword Coast map. Okay. If we look up to the north.
Damn, we made a mess of this map.
Yep. Well, it's been quite an adventure.
A lot of stuff has happened.
Yes, a lot of things have happened. Okay. So this is over here, the high ice.
Let me guess, upper right corner of the map.
The Frozen Sea, I believe so. Yes. So I think what we're looking at is.
No, that's the Frozen Sea.
Frozen. Yeah. So I think what we're looking at is basically right around. Here we go. Around here-ish.
Okay.
Like somewhere in there.
Okay.
If I'm looking at that properly. I make sure to wear the T-shirts we made. Yes. Yes, indeed.
T-shirts. What a good idea.
Yes.
All right,
indeed.
everyone must wear matching clothes so that way we know whose team everyone's on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Don't do shirts and skins. It's not going to be comfortable this time.
I was going to say, Urash pretty much has to be skins.
Yeah, I mean, like,
very true.
Okay.
Who drew the sad face? Is that the boss marker?
Yes, I drew a boss marker. So what?
I love it. I love it.
Interesting. So that's when you consult your map, you'll immediately know right there is where the bad guy is.
Just an angry skull marker on that part of the map.
I was considering trying to draw a skull, and then I thought better of it. But I can give it another try if you want to.
Yeah.
No, I love it. I love it.
I like that.
Make the evil dragon be on Team Red Shirt. Yeah, exactly. I'm sure the dragon will go along with it.
What is our nearest teleportation point?
Not that close.
No, that's way too south.
Okay,
Never mind. I was thinking about Lork. Yata. It is literally Yata.
Where can we go from here, though? Because this isn't a teleportation point.
So where are the rocks starting? Because the rocks are flying over from an island.
Right. So they are going to go from the whale bones, which I don't think is actually shown on this map, but the whalebone islands, and then from the whalebone islands, the rocks are going to fly to the east, basically. They're going to fly all the way across, and will end up over... Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Yes, I actually think I positioned this pretty well, actually. It is where it is, because I found where Anarok is. Anyway, the rocks are going to fly all the way across the map, and I'll freehand it for you. So going from, like, you know, somewhere over here all the way that way until they end up over like that, until they go to
Big rock marker. Yeah.
Like there. Okay, just want to make sure we're all clear on where they're all going to end up.
Where all the sad faces converge.
Exactly. But anyway, that's the plan for where the rocks are going to be.
Well, that complicates things a bit, because this means we need to get our allies there somehow.
Flying tower.
Flying tower, right?
Flying tower. It's a very fast flying tower. I reckon we use whatever we've got available to us, tower, teleportation, whatever we need to get, basically split us all up to different allies, and then try and gather us all up as soon as possible.
Okay, so we all meet in Yatar with Sephiroth, and then fly from there.
Where is Yatar? Yeah, Yatar's good. Yeah, Yatar's kind of central.
Because Yatar has teleportation points, so that would help Harper-wise.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Yeah. So where can we go from here?
From where?
From Maelstrom. Because this isn't a teleportation spot, is it? We use an item to get here, and we last time we were here, we could be sent anywhere. So I'm wondering, how can we best exploit this to make this as quick a turnaround as possible?
Yeah.
Within reason, I should say. They can take you. The conscious teleportation will take you to a number of different places, and it will take you and your immediate companions. So the party can definitely go, but you wouldn't be able to bring a bunch of giants that way. Also, I do want to just remind everybody that Zephyros' tower is not, like half a mile wide. So just keep in mind that, you do have a bunch of giants that you're thinking about, like bringing a dragon and like maybe a bunch of goblins, but just be aware that there will be limits to how much your cargo ship, so to speak, can actually.
Yeah.
The dragon can fly himself, damn it.
Yep. Yeah, I was thinking the dragon can fly himself. The giants are going on the rocks, aren't they? So I'm thinking people like...
Yeah, the giants are going. Yeah, the giants are going.
That actually decide they want.
Well, we won't be carrying any harpers. Come on.
No, exactly. If we can swing by and get Calixtus, that would be cool.
I would.
Know if that's going to be possible.
King Hackathon, if you could send me to the Eye of the All-Father, I would see if I can bring Calixtus and Bella.
Thank you. I'm glad you remembered where he was.
I am happy to do so, but you should be aware that that place has gone through great upheaval. I don't know what you'll find if you are teleported to it. Just be aware of the circumstance.
Yeah, we did get punched by that mountain.
There were spiders.
Yeah, that sneak attack from that mountain, that'll get you every time.
Yes, the totally unprovoked sneak attack.
I'm glad you remember it correctly.
Yep. So Harper, Sephiroth, Calixtus are covered.
Yes.
Celsic.
Yes.
Who do you want to rally?
How useful could goblins be, even if they did agree to come? It's my thought.
Yeah.
The worst friend, cannon fodder.
That's not.
Depends on how many goblins there are. If we're talking like a couple of dozen, absolutely not. If we're
It's
talking
a
like
couple of dozen. No. This
a
was
nearby giant guard nods, agreeing with you, like, cannon fodder.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not. Maybe that's
this
not
was enough to fend off a criminal gang at a town.
Yeah. Who else do we reckon then?
Well, then maybe you could just kind of travel with Uraj trying to find Sephiroth, because you might have to teleport around a bit to find him.
Yeah. Need to check on Fluffball as well. Not that I'm bringing him. Too dangerous. You'll understand.
Okay. I'll still have to find out how to get back from the Eye of the All-Father if I find Calixtus and Bella. So that's going to be interesting, I guess. Anybody else got any idea?
So, King Hecaton, got any more of those nice conches of teleportation lying around?
And he says, "We normally do not have many of these that we keep, and I fear that already they were given too freely given the circumstances of what has happened of late. However, I would be willing to give one of these conches to you to be able to use in your travels. If you are using it, you should be able to travel to many different places, especially giant ones, the Oracle of the All-Father being an example of that. If you can find the one you seek, and if that person agrees, you can bring them back with you, but be aware, it will not bring an army, just a group, a small group of creatures."
Would it bring a giant lizard?
So he kind of gives you this, like, tilts his head, like, and then he's like, "I don't see why not, if there were only one of them."
Mm-hmm. I think he only has one of them.
So logistically, Greta, you're the only one going to somewhere that doesn't have a teleportation spot, aren't you? So you definitely need one of those conches.
Yes.
Are we going somewhere where hopefully we'll find Zephyros, or myself and Celsig are going somewhere where we'll find Zephyros, and River, you're going to, I forget where River's going now. Anyone? River?
What?
Anyone?
I was waiting for River to answer.
I mean, I know, but I was waiting for you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have lawn equipment outside, so I only half heard you.
I was just wondering. I was wondering where you were going in regards to trying to find the Harpers and Talismana, because I can't remember where that was. I'm trying to make sure that you have a way back somewhere. Or to
I was just gonna teleport to. I believe it was Neverwinter. There was a teleport circle there, and wasn't that the Harper one? Or was it not Neverwinter? Was that somewhere else?
I think it was Neverwinter, yeah.
I think it was Neverwinter, yeah.
The one that was in the attic. I thought that was Neverwinter. Yeah. So I was just gonna hop on over there and talk to the creepy lady who owns that.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, I think that's us decided, right?
Yep. Then if I find, or I'll come back from the Eye of the All-Father with the teleportation conch to the Maelstrom, and then just travel with the giants via whatever fish and then rocks to the meeting point near Embrith.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So then so if you're doing that, River, you don't have a way back to Maelstrom, do you? So River doesn't have a way back to Maelstrom from Neverwinter. So we can only have 2 conches, correct?
Unless the creepy lady can send me back.
Okay, just in case, I'll make sure you have a conch as well. So Greta and River both have conches because you're both going somewhere where it's reasonably inaccessible and there's no magical way immediately back.
No. There's the Harper network, and Celsig is taking care of that. So, and then all of you meet up with Sephiroth, the 3 of you and all the people you can gather, and then fly.
Yes, but how are you? So you're getting to the. I'm trying to logistically figure out how we're all meeting up at the boss battle.
You 3 fly with Sephiroth.
Okay.
To the boss battle. If you don't find Sephiroth, we're in trouble.
Yes. Which I'm kind of hoping we can do, because we literally have this horn that's kind of summons him. So even if it takes a while, he should turn up.
But he might be too sad to come to the fight.
Also true.
Or too angry with King Hecaton.
Well, that situation was because of Imerith.
Yeah.
Both times.
Yeah, so you 3 still have the 1 teleportation conch, and so if you cannot find Sephiroth at all, you can still come back to the Maelstrom.
Yes. So does it make sense for all of us 3 to go to Neverwinter then? Because then Celsig and I can go somewhere outside of Neverwinter and try and find Zephyros. So then we're not splitting the party in 3 then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Okay, we got a plan.
So, as I understand it, I originally had this as Urash was going to seek out Zephyros, River was going to seek out Kalismana and the Harpers, Greta was going to seek out Calixis, and Celsig, I wasn't 100% sure. I didn't know if that was like, I know Fluffball, but I wasn't sure if like Zephyros was part of that mix. Is that still the plan-ish?
Sort of, yeah. So where's Fluffball, Celsic?
He's on the Sephiroth's tower.
He's on the Sephiroth's tower. That's absolutely fine then. So Greta is going to go to the Eye of the Allfather, try and get to Calixis and Bella.
Right.
Myself, River, and Celsig are going to go to Neverwinter. At that point, myself and Celsig are going to go outside of Neverwinter and try and summon Zephyros using the horn, and River is going to appeal to the Harpers to try and get them and or Kalismana's aid.
Got it. Okay.
So then we all gather, presumably Zephyros answers, and then we have a mode of transportation. We then meet... this is what I was a bit fuzzy on. Are we then going back to Maelstrom to meet Greta, or are we meeting Greta at the waypoint?
I think you're flying with Sephiroth to the waypoint.
Okay, cool. That's what I thought, because you're going to go with the Giants, right?
Yes, I will go back to either with Calixis or not. I will go back to Maelstrom and then travel with the Giants to the...
Travel via Whale and Rock.
Via Whale and Rock, yeah. And if we can't get Zephyros' help, then we at least have a way back to Maelstrom. Yeah.
Yes.
So everything should take a very short amount of time.
Yes. So... Yeah.
Let's do it. We have a plan.
So...
I turned to River. I really hope we could go together, because I have the feeling we're going to need your invisibility up there. Good luck, everyone.
And so you set off. I'm going to start, I think, actually, with... I'm going to deal with Greta in a minute, but I'm going to start with Urash, River, and Celsig.
Wait, hang on. I have Dust of Disappearance. Could I give that to Greta?
Sure.
Since you said you thought you'd need invisibility, could I give you that?
What is it?
It is Dust of Disappearance. You dust and become disappeared.
Like, invisible or disappeared?
Invisible.
For how long?
I actually don't know. I just have temporary invisibility written down.
I'll look it up. 15 seconds. No.
It's just a little fairy pouch of dust.
Thank you for the follow, Onadrill. Let me take a look, because I actually don't remember how long Dust of Disappearance. Okay. It is...
It's this magic powder that makes
2d4 minutes.
Awesome. Thank you very much, River. I take that with me.
Yes, you take that with you.
It's dangerous to go alone.
Yes.
Take this. Okay. So Greta's going to go...
If I cannot take my Dragonborn, at least I take this.
Just make sure you mark that down. So you were going to do that. You were going to head out in that direction. So I'm going to start with River, Norash, and Celsig. The teleporting to Neverwinter is relatively uneventful, and I'm going to have Celsig and Orash are going off to deal with Zephyros. So I'll deal with you gentlemen in a minute. But I want to begin with River tracking down the Harpers, and I want to know specifically, River, how are you doing that? Because finding the Harpers could be multiple ways of doing it. Sorry, my son decided to show up. Yeah, how are you going to track down and find the Harpers?
Well, like I said, I had thoughts that I would try to find the building with the teleportation circle in it,
right,
and then talk to them. If I could remember where it is. I know that there were some landmarks near it because we walked to it the first time. I thought.
Yes, and I think you probably are able to make your way to the building, except that when you get to the building, River, it is not as you remember it, because the building itself is boarded up. And on the front door, there are sort of cross beams, like basically also boarded up, like locking over the door, and there's a notice that you can see by the door.
What does it say?
The notice says, condemned by the order of Lord Neverwinter, Never Ember. So it seems to be blocked. And as you're sort of looking at that, you hear, it is a sad sight, is it not?
You with the music. You're the one.
And you look over and you see, of course, Diego Maradona, who, looks at you and gives you a dazzling smile and says, yes, it is I. And I'm glad to see you, River. I had heard that you might be returning this way. And, as you can see, things have become more serious.
Oh yeah, word travels fast. I like just decided to do that like 5 minutes ago. That's really impressive. Anyway, what happened to the Harpers, or at least this building of the Harpers?
He says, there has been a campaign, you might say, disinformation. There are people who have been spreading rumors about the Harpers and the dangers that they theoretically pose. The leaders, of course, do not believe this nonsense. But the populace is enough exercised about it that it is dangerous at the moment to be a Harper or to be associated with them. Somehow, information came out that this place was associated with the Harpers, and so Lord Neverember decided to condemn it before it became target for an unruly mob. And those of us who work within the organization, we are playing it carefully, you might say. But of course, the Harpers are still active everywhere. And in fact, we knew some of what you were doing because we heard about it from one of our own who works within Maelstrom. There are, of course, giant Harpers too.
Oh, well, that would have saved me a trip if he had just said something. Gosh.
And he says, they do not wish to be revealed, though. Obviously, given the giant's recent behavior, it is sometimes dangerous for one to be visible. But we heard about it. And so I am here to offer what assistance I may. What is it that you require from us?
Literally anything you can give us. People, information, weapons, armor, potions, money, I don't care. A horde of angry rabbits, we'll take it.
He says, it's fortunate you said angry rabbit. No, he doesn't say that. He says, I am happy to do so. For one, I am happy to provide you with this. And he pulls out from beneath his cloak what looks essentially like a square leather bag. And as you sort of take it, you can hear a little bit of like what sounds like rattling within it. And opening it up, you can see that there are a set of flasks there. And it looks like there are, from what you can tell, 6 of these flasks. He says, each of these is a potion of extra healing. We have been saving it, believing that you would need this eventually. Each one of them is good for a single dose, but they will provide you great virtue in healing properties if needed. And so that's the kind of deal you
did there, because don't we all just hold potions until we think we might need them? This is perfect. Thank you.
And he nods and he says, yes, it is all about the timing. Beyond that, of course, what I can offer is myself. I, Diego Maradona, will accompany you to the front lines, and I will use whatever abilities I have, whatever skill and wisdom and wit that I possess, to provide a strike against evil, and to play some music.
Greta will be thrilled.
He nods. I look forward to seeing her. She is always so pleased at my arrival.
Thank you so much. Is there any way to reach the other Harpers and ask their assistance, or are you basically the liaison and that's all we get?
He says, I am already speaking to them, and there may be others that they will provide. But it is difficult. The Harpers are stretched thin, especially with the attacks with the giants, although perhaps now those things may cease. But at least in the short term, it will be difficult to summon all together. Still, we will bring who we can.
Okay, thank you. This is more than I was expecting, so I'm very grateful. We're all very grateful.
Where exactly are we to meet? Oh yeah, he basically is like, where do we go?
So there's a waypoint. I point at the map. Or if you want to just hang out with me, we can go find my buddies, and they might be finding a flying tower.
And he nods and he says, I am happy to accompany anyone when a flying tower is in the midst. And also that waypoint you pointed to has a very scary face. So therefore I will avoid this scary look and go with you instead, until the time is necessary.
Perfect. Let's go find my friends.
So he slings his loot, and as he swirls around, his robe reflects, the inside of his cloak reflects this like bright red silk that kind of catches the rays and like, you know, blazes, like the opposite of stealthy basically, right? And he strides along beside you, smiling, occasionally nodding, throwing a sweet meat to a child as in the street. And as you head along with that, he says, also, there may be some other assistance we can provide. And he looks up, and you see a shadow fly over you. And it's a big shadow, like a dragon-sized shadow. And so he kind of flies above and onwards, although he does not land in the middle of Neverwinter, which would be not a good idea. And so he heads on that way. Meanwhile, Urash and Selsig are out looking for Zephyros. Now, I assume you went out like a good distance from the walls, basically, and then you were like, all right,
yeah, pretty much.
Let's go.
Yeah, pretty much. Like a solid 10-15 minute walk.
It's probably not a good idea to get him shot by ballista.
No,
Okay.
Definitely not.
So you go a ways out, and then, yeah, exactly. Maradona's cloak flapping in a breeze that exists only for him and his cloak, exactly. So you blow the horn, and when you do, there's this kind of low rumbling. And then for the first time, you do not remember hearing this the last time that you blew this horn. There is an answering call. There's a responding. But as yet, you do not see anything in the sky or on the land.
Okay. We'll give it a few minutes. I'll turn to Selsig and say
he may be looking for us at sea.
It's entirely possible, yeah. I say we give him a couple of seconds and then see if anything turns up. If not, we'll blow the horn again.
Yeah. Well, he's got to come from the sea. Took us a while.
I'll look towards the ocean.
Okay. Make a perception check for me, please. And both of you can do that if you wish.
Okay.
Where is my character sheet?
19.
Okay.
My character sheet. Perception. Here we go. 22.
So you look, and you're pretty sure that your gaze pierces, far into the distance, but you do not see anyone as of yet, or anything.
Okay. A minute or so has passed, so I'll blow the horn again.
Okay. Again, the and then the response of the right. And after a few minutes pass, you do actually see several. At first, they just look like dots on the horizon, dark dots, and then they get sort of bigger and bigger and bigger, and you can see that there are multiples of them. And as you look up, you can see that they are actually griffins, and there appear to be 3 of them that are flying in some kind of formation. And you sort of continue to watch as they're flying. And then they get closer and closer, and you think you recognize them. And they do a couple of circles around you, and then land with a great squawk and sort of flurry of feathers, and kind of walk up to you. And one of them like noses underneath Selsig, and the other one like bangs into your head, Urash, like repeatedly.
I pet one of the griffins. The one that's banging into me, I'll pet it. And
that is Beaky. And so you see Beaky, there's Claws that you probably recognize, Selsig, and Squawker, who as it's walking around you, rock, 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 just making its usual constant noise. But you don't see, of course, Wingding, previously deceased, nor do you see Ariel the Adolescent, also previously deceased. But these 3 are there, and you're just sort of sitting there with them. And then when you look up, you can see the griffins, even those who have not been making lots of noise, start to make noise. And they're looking around and then focused in the sky. And then you can see that indeed you see a line on the horizon that gets closer and closer. And that eventually looks like either Zephyros' tower, or you've got a bad guy flying around in a tower now. So one way or the other. and it flies towards you, and then gradually sinks down, although not all the way. And then it lowers basically a series of rope ladders, basically, fall down from the edge down to you. And the griffins all take off from the ground at the same moment and fly up towards it.
Cool. I will climb one of the rope ladders.
Yep.
Okay. So the minute you get on, you start climbing, it starts, you get that classic, it starts taking off and you're like, holding against it, silhouette of the sun against you. I'm going to use my setting sun for this benefit, here, right, where you're holding on dramatically looking off as you're carried up. Or maybe freaking out that you're not up in the tower yet. I don't know. I don't know which way you're feling.
It's 50-50 at this point. It depends how far I fall.
That's true. So
I'm going to be very angry when I do it, though.
Yeah, you got to immediately start raging. Once you climb up the rest of the way, you find yourself inside the tower. But you do not see Zephyros there, but you do see one of the griffins that's sort of on the bottom floor, basically, which is sort of seems to be waiting for you. It's Beaky.
I approach Beaky and I go to pet it.
Okay, it enjoys the pet, obviously.
I kind of say, so where is he? And I look around a little bit, and I'm half talking to Beaky, half not talking to Beaky. But it's weird to see the tower without Zephyros in at the minute.
And Beaky jerks his head up like he wants to, is like up, go up, like seems like anxious, like he wants to fly, but he doesn't fly yet.
I will climb on Beaky.
Okay, and then Celsic, are you also doing that?
Yeah, I'll follow.
He'll let you on. And so he, flaps and takes you straight up to the bridge level. And when you get up to that level, Beaky drops you both off and goes over to his nest. The other two griffins are already there. And you can see Zephyros is at the controls of the ship, and he doesn't turn to you at first. And then he says, that must be Selse Ganurash, I assume. And he turns around to look, and you can see that his usual jovial manner and everything is much changed. He looks not particularly happy. He looks, if anything, somewhat sad, and sort of turns around and is looking at you and says, I'm glad to see you safely returned.
I just say, my friend, it's good to see you. I'm sorry for this, but we bring grave news. During our fight on the Morkoth to free Hekaton from the clutches of the Order of the...
Kraken?
I can't remember what it was called. Order of the Kraken, thank you. Order of the Kraken, Ariel fell defending us. I'm so sorry.
When he did not return, I knew that would be the case. You did not see it, or you would not be here, but the ship itself was destroyed by something, some great tentacled beast. And I knew that my Ariel had not survived. It is a great sorrow. He never knew what it was like to travel the wind as an adult. And yet, he left without my asking, to save all of you. And he kind of, stops. He says, but I am not upset with you, friends. How did he die?
I didn't see it myself. I was essentially turned to stone during the encounter, but once we'd freed Hekaton, chaos ensued between him, us, and all of the cultists that were on the ship, and Ariel defended one of our comrades from being... All I know is Ariel defended one of our comrades from being killed.
He shielded River from a blow that would have surely ended her life.
And he kind of looks at you, Celsig, and says, whose blow, exactly?
It was Hekaton's. We managed to awake him from whatever sorcery had kept him slumbering. And he was in a berserk rage, one which I have witnessed more than one occasion, I say, looking at Urash. And the sort of rage where you do not know friend from foe, especially when your friend is someone you've never seen before, and they're claiming to be your friend, and they're in the midst of people who have betrayed you.
And there's sort of a long pause, and then he says, "When, of course, has Hecaton not done things in a rage, or affected those with his might instead of his mind? My lessons to him seem to have yielded little, for he is as much a fool as a man as he was as a boy." Now, you've never heard him talk like this, and he, turns around and just stares out the window, and he says, "And now I suppose you come to me saying that Hecaton desires my aid, or my allegiance, or something of that sort, yes?"
No.
No, not Hecaton.
We do.
Yeah, we ask for your help.
We wish to put an end to the person responsible for all of this, for the loss of 2 of your Griffin friends.
As Celsig says that, I take the axe off of my back and I run my fingers over the handle, because intertwined into the handle is a couple of the feathers from Wingdings, from the fight with Drufi, and I say, there is a chance that we can put a stop to the source of all of this. Not Hecaton, not anybody else. Us, you, me, Celsig, River, Greta. We can put a stop to the madness that has caused these situations and the death of those that we love. But I don't think we can do it without you. So I'm not asking as Hecaton's friend. I'm not asking you as Hecaton's mentor. I'm not even asking you as a giant. I'm asking you as someone who has selflessly helped our party as a separate group away from the politics of this world to stop evil where it starts, right here and now.
We go to face a foe beyond anything we have ever faced before. And we faced some things. Have you seen how many times Urash has attacked the ground?
I get very angry at the floor.
And I suppose Hecaton is aiding you in this endeavor?
He is. Yeah. He's also said he wishes to make amends to you for what has happened in your past.
Amends. You might as soon ask the mountain to move from one place to another.
I don't know. He seemed certain, especially after the gaze from his queen Neri, that a man's heart can change. And I look at him as directly in the eye as I can. I say, before this point, I didn't think I'd trust anybody. I had been betrayed by a number of people, even my previous patrons, and it's hard to open yourself up, especially to those who have betrayed you. But if we don't open ourselves up every now and then, we cannot change. And I'm still holding the axe at this point. I put the axe back on my back, but I keep hold of the handle for a second. I say, if I had not gone on this journey, I would not be the person I am right now. And I have everyone around me, including yourself, to thank for that. So yes, King Hecaton is going to help us in this, but it's not just his duty or his right. He's part of this world. So it's his honor-bound servitude to the rest of this world to make sure that this evil is stopped.
I haven't run. Plenty of times I could have. More than a few.
Left.
I should have. And I haven't.
We've got no ties to this. The four of us.
We may well be...
Celsig, Greta, River.
And we may be going to our doom. But if we don't stop Imrith, no one else is going to be able to. Imrith nearly brought down the Ordning, shattered the agreement of the giants, throw the world into chaos. It needs to stop.
I'm going to ask one of the two of you to make, you can choose which one, to make a persuasion check, and you'll do it at advantage.
Okay. I'm going to say that Celsius could probably take that unless your persuasion check modifier is very, very low, as in lower than 0.
Unless you want to try to intimidate him into it. Do what I say!
Yeah.
To put it in game terms, Celsius not as charismatic as he'd like to think he is.
Yeah.
And more specifically, yes, it's less than 0.
It's less than 0, right? Okay, cool. I'll do it then. So persuasion advantage. So do that one, and do that one. I'll take the 18.
The 2, you punch him in the face. Do what I say.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a long pause while he's still looking out the bridge, the setting sun, sort of in his eyes, and then he turns back and wipes something away, and he says, "You know that from up here you can forget about what happens down below. Whatever madness the little people and my people are up to. And yet somehow it always intrudes."
Fleeing from your problems doesn't make them go away. I ran most of my life from the fear of being hunted by monsters in the night, and I ended up being hunted by monsters in the night, but I became a stronger orc for it. And it's just sometimes, if you find yourself in hell, the only way is forward.
I find your wisdom has grown, Lorash. I don't do this for Hekaton or for my people, for whom I fear I have little worth. But I will do it for you. It seems to me that both of you and your companions have acted more greatly than any of my people of greater stature. For you, I will put my tower at your service, and my remaining griffins. I will not ask you to preserve them. I will, however, ask you to think of them. And he turns around. Oh, I guess he was already turned around, so...
We cannot thank you enough of that.
No one in this fight is being treated as disposable.
No. And if there is a danger to your griffins, I would ask that they not be involved. And again, I kind of touched the handle on the back of my axe on the back of my my pack. I don't know if I could stand to lose another one of those griffins, and I don't know how you would feel about it. But when Windings died defending me, it was more than my stamina that broke that day. It was a piece of my heart. And seeing Ariel perish on that boat, part of me wished I hadn't have come back from that fight. There are certain individuals and certain creatures that will lay their lives on the line for you, and it's normally those creatures and individuals that you would never want to see put in harm's way. I would never want to see any of my comrades needlessly throw themselves in the line of fire for me. And I definitely don't want to see your griffins put themselves in harm's way when we have other allies who can do that for us. They mean a lot to me, and I know they mean a lot to the others, and I know they mean a lot to you. So if you will, lend us your tower, don't lend us your griffins.
So he looks at all the griffins and he goes over to each one and kind of, strokes the feathers of each in turn, and they all kind of, even Squawker is just, a little quiet. And then he turns around. Very well. Let us begin. And now I'm going to jump last of all to Greta, who is using the conch of teleportation, and you find yourself, Greta, on the outside edge of the Oracle of the Allfather. And you can see that indeed you were all fortunate when you were knocked out the last time dealing with this avalanche, because you can see the result of it. The entire side of the mountain below you seems to have been reshaped by the avalanche, and nothing seems familiar. You can definitely see behind you is the cave entrance, the entrance leading into the Oracle. But out here, you can also see that below you is just like a slope of nothing but snow, new snow that's newly fallen. How do you want to try to find Calixis?
I think we found out that shouting at the mountain is not a good idea last time.
Seemed to have negative consequences, yes.
So I think I'm not going to try to find Calixis first. I think I'm going to have a look into the Eye of the Allfather and see what happened with Harshnag.
Okay. When you walk inside the entrance goes back a few feet, and then you can see, you're sort of struck by or surprised by this shaft of bright, blinding light, which is coming from above you, and you're like, what? And then you look around and you can see that there is a massive hole in the roof where there was none before.
So that's how Imrith got in.
Yep. And
because we had closed the doors.
Exactly. So Imrith had obviously smashed through the top of it to get in. And as you sort of look, you're walking along, and then you kind of bang into something, and you turn around, you sort of turn towards what it was, and you can see that the way in front of you is blocked. And at first you can't really tell what it is. It looks sort of like cold and looks almost like a blue slab of some kind that seems to be blocking your way. Definitely not a door, Greta, but something.
Well, it doesn't move or something, right?
No, I mean, you're just looking at it right now, but I mean, if you want, you could, investigate it or whatever, but...
Yeah, I'll approach slowly and carefully.
Okay. Make a perception check for me, please.
$17.
So, it does not move, and it doesn't shift. It is definitely almost slate gray or blue. And as you walk up to it, you can see that there are what look like several curved lines in it. And then as you get closer, you can see that there's a little space between one part of it, and the light that is shining above you is also shining through the space between what's left of the ceiling, basically, and this slate gray thing. And as you get closer, you can see that what it actually is a massive, motionless hand, which is out like this, blocking the way.
We should try to mass produce those scrolls of resurrection. Okay. I still walk up to see what brought him down, because it might give us some information about Imrith.
So you'd have to climb up and over. You think there's room. You could climb up and over the hand if you want, but you'll have to do that. So I need to have you make an, either athletics actually would do for this if you have that, or just a strength check. It's not a very hard one, but...
11.
Yeah, that's enough. So you pull yourself up and over.
We lost Mike.
Lost Mike. Okay, we'll get him back in a second. So you pull yourself up and over, and as you get down on the other side, you can see that you are now standing inside this room where Imrith had, crashed through half of it. And you can see now that it looks like there was an enormous battle. There is stone just crumbled, as if you were looking at what's left of a child's sandcastle, just strewn about. You can see tables and chairs tossed in one place or another, boulders and rocks. And you can also see a shattered pieces of metal on the ground. And looking at it, you think that what you see are shattered pieces of what was at one point Harshnag's axe that are just lying on the ground in bits. And Harshnag himself is lying on the ground. You can see his face is turned, his eyes are closed, his mouth open. And you don't see like obvious scars at first, but when you get closer, you can see that his tunic and his armor has been ripped. And obviously this creature, that he was fighting must have tore into him. But you can also see that his body around his head and neck is scorched. If you had to guess, if you're sort of recreating this, this was a breath weapon that did the most damage, presumably lightning breath of some kind, that scorched him. And he lies there with his eyes closed, as I said, and mouth open. But he almost looks, for the first time since you ever knew him, vaguely peaceful, as if he was quiet, at rest. But he is quite clearly gone.
Well, Harshnag, I still kind of hoped you had gotten away somehow. That she was so much more interested in finding us that she might have just left. I take one of the pieces of a shattered axe. I don't think you're gonna mind me taking this. This is a remembrance. Okay, let's find your pal Calixus, I guess.
And when you say this, you hear behind you, well, I think Calixus has found you first, lass. And as
you seem to have a knack for that.
As you turn around, you can see, actually, the first thing you actually see, rather troublingly, is a massive blue lizard face, like right next to you, like, roar, and then immediately, like, sort of, like bumps into you. And he, Calixus, is got a hand up on the saddle on the back of Bella and says, it's a bad business. I thought I heard something up here just a little while ago, and we've been coming up here now and again to tend to what's left of him. This battle that took place, he kind of looks around at the destroyed chamber. If you've never seen a dragon fight a giant, it's something to see if you're not in the midst of it. But I'm sorry we lost him. He was always thinking about someone other than him. Until he couldn't think about anything at all, I guess.
Well, this is the giant's holy place, and Imrith destroyed it and killed one of theirs here. If this does not rally the giants against her, I don't know what will. And yes, Mike's internet is gone.
Okay. So he says, that makes sense to me. But did you come here just to find him, lass?
No, I also came here to find you, as you heard me say. We're going up against her. We're going up against Imrith in her lair. And
his eyes widen, by the way, as you say that. The in her lair part.
And we could use help. Like all the help we can get. We have 5 giants on our side. Maybe a 6th one if he would come. We're hoping that the Harpers and their dragon will also join us, but we don't know yet. So we split up. We're looking for help. We're looking for support. Will you come? Will you try to avenge Harshnag?
And he says, you're bringing them back together. A dragon in her lair, you say?
A dragon in her lair.
And he looks at Bella, who looks back at him strangely quiet. And then he looks at Harshnag, and he says, I thought my adventuring days were behind me. But then, turns back to you, I thought my grieving days were behind me too. Perhaps it's time that I got in front of things instead of always being on the other side of them, where it was too late to do anything but watch. There's not left a Force Grey now, just a bunch of dead bodies and broken dreams. But whatever we've got left, whatever Bella and I've got left for you, we'll bring to you and for him. And as he puts in his hand in the classic, we make a bond style, I think the camera pans out to show the brilliant sunshine gleaming in on the sight of Greta speaking with a dwarf and a blue ice lizard, the motionless, enormous body of Harshnag nearby, and the sun maybe strikes just well enough to illuminate Harshnag's face and to show a little bit of softness that might not have been there before the dawn. And that is where we are going to bring our session to a close. So, lovely stuff, everybody. And some sadness. A little reminder, I think, for everybody that war has consequences all the time. And it's not just everyone gets together and has a good time, thank you, Wildesbot, and thank you, Triffid. I appreciate it. I mean, it's easy because I have great players, so, but that was lovely. And I did love, straight up, I love the Mass Effect 2 concept of just everybody, let's get the troops together, and all that to see what happens. So this is assembled over many years, several years that you've been playing this campaign of this group of people that are getting together. So I will start, as per usual, on at the bottom of the column, beginning, of course, with Tasty Chai, who, as usual, managed to battle both baby aggro and lawn mower noises and all that stuff to stick with us. But Chai, I thought you had some good moments with River. The stuff that happened with the dragon, in terms of like figuring out what the dragons actually meant, if that was gonna matter to you, but especially thinking about your connection with the Harpers and with Diego Maradona and all that stuff. Seemed right, and seemed to fit, even in terms of that semi-poignant thing, which you said is kind of a fun, like, river line, but, I was looking for friends and I already found them. I thought that was nice. How did you feel about today's session? Where would the lovely folks find you next?
Well, as always, I loved it. But as always, I was like, I have to pay attention to this and that, and everything is falling apart, and I'm trying to play D&D, and this is not good. The timing is terrible.
Yeah.
One of these days.
Soon.
Calm down. But anyway, yeah, I loved it. I thought it was a lot of fun. And to me, it felt right that, River wasn't looking for adventure. She wasn't looking for riches or fame or anything. She was just looking for companionship because she spent so much time alone. So it felt right to go in that direction with it. And I really enjoyed it. Anyway, excuse me, I'm trying to say goodbye. Anyway, hopefully, with luck, the baby will let me stream tomorrow on my channel, and we are finishing up Little Nightmares 2. So be sure to check that out. It's a lot of fun.
Good stuff. Thank you, Chai. Always a pleasure. I will do the honors for Mike, who internet just fell apart. But Mike, of course, is Peripheral Mike, and announced beforehand that he's doing some cool stuff with Final Fantasy via his YouTube channel. So you should check out Peripheral Mike's channel. Because anytime we can get Mike doing more streaming and more presence is a good thing, because Mike is such a good dude. And of course, you can find Mike over there. I think it's YouTube/Peripheral Mike. I gotta look it up. Anyway, you'll be able to track it down and find us in Discord. We can let you know. Regardless, though, Mike Smith was playing Urash, and I know where you'll see him, definitely, besides in his own place, and that is back here, along with Chai and Saber and Greta and Pyron for Talisman Adventures, which will be happening next week. Moving right on up the line, again, I thought really good stuff also, Saber from Celsig, particularly dealing with, and I liked the idea of how you split up everyone to go talk to different people, because I thought the people that you went to, you all have relationships with all of these people, but I thought it was interesting that you and Urash in a way have a particular connection, I think, to the Griffins, and obviously to Zephyros. And so it was interesting that you were sort of aiding in a lot of ways and being like, this is something that we need to remember about, like, this is why we have to do this fight. And it's interesting to see how far Celsig has come from a character who was like, I got to do what I need to for me, and who over time has decided that me is a lot bigger than just me. And that was, I think, reflected in the way that you were dealing with Zephyros, which I thought was nice. How did you feel about today? Where will the lovely folks find you next?
It's been a blast as always. I've been loving it. All the character moments throughout the entire campaign, but again tonight, really strong character moments from everybody, which is always great. Again, just like even as a player, it's great to just sitting back when it's like, all right, my bit's done. Now I get to see what everyone else is going to do, and I just get to sit back and enjoy it, and it's wonderful. But it's like you say, yeah, Celsig is he's complicated. But like sooner or later, even a coward has to make a stand. And he's come to realize that, and he's not alone, and he knows that.
Yeah.
And his friends have given him the confidence to be able to say, "This is my stand, and I'm okay with making this."
It's so true. It's so much harder than for a hero, right? A hero. This is no problem. It's a lot harder for the person who kind of comes to it in a different way and still makes a stand at some point. So yeah.
A hero dies once, a coward dies 1,000 times.
Yep. But that means they have to die 1,000 times. It's true. Where will we see you next, Saber?
I will be right here tomorrow evening, same time as this stream was, and I'm going to be doing the release stream for Shadow Man Remastered. So we're going to be getting nice and nostalgic with a late 90s. I call it a classic, but it can be a bit Marmite of a game. But I remember I used to rent it all the time on the N64, so I'm really looking forward to checking it out with the PC Remastered Edition, which I tried it a little bit. It's looking really good, so definitely that. And I'll be back on my own channel on Thursday, gearing up for the Nier remake release on Friday. So I've been playing a bit of Drakengard, going back to where it all started.
Yep. Yeah, I lurked a little bit watching you targeting and taking down things on flying dragons, which is always a good time.
Yeah. Speaking of dragons, it's being a dragony sort of week.
Yeah, it's true. It's the week of dragons, so to speak. Always a pleasure, Saber. Thank you very much as always. And last but certainly not least, Pyron, Greta had obviously a lot of good moments also. Not only Greta's speech to the Giants, where we appreciate this, but this is, what we will do. Fultus, the biggest building, cast the longest shadow, and all that was very nice, I thought. And also, of course, the moment back there with Calixis, which, you had this connection with, part of it was the laugh about the awkward, accidental awkward thing with Calixis. But it was beyond that. I mean, you had connected with him. There has not been, this particular adventure doesn't have all that much real dwarven, connections as much to that same degree. And you really had a chance, I thought, to match up with him. And I liked the parallel between what was going on with the Griffins and with Zephyros and Celsig and Urash and what you were dealing with in terms of Bella, but also, coming to terms with what had happened to Harshnag, who died trying to save all of you, and trying to fight this beast. So I thought you did very well in managing all of that through several good subtle moments and kind of letting the moment breathe. So I thought you did very well with that. How did you feel about today's session? Where will the lovely folks find you next?
I love all our sessions, so this is kind of the D&D sessions are always one of the highlights for me every month, and now that I have an additional talisman session, this is also really wonderful. So yes, I was again really happy tonight, and I have to admit I still suspected that Harshnag somehow might have made it, so I personally was also really curious about this. And yeah, next Tuesday, right, same place, same time, for Talisman Adventures. Yep. Completely different character. I'm very much also like that. I also liked Saber's Drakengard stream. Did you know that a whole village of bards was burned down there? Really? And so
other people do accidental burnings of things at the time, right? That's what happens.
But it's excused. It was a whole village of bards.
Yeah, so, that's fine. Yeah.
So yeah, next week, same place, same time, and I'm also somehow around a chat from here and there, and so yeah, and then again for D&D.
Good stuff. Always a great pleasure. Thank you so much to the entire crew. I'm so happy that they're going to be playing with us. For those of you who missed the announcement, they are not just going to continue Talisman Adventures, but when we're done with Storm King's Thunder, which I suspect will be coming to a close next month during my charity convention, then we will be moving on to a new, as yet for you all anyway, unannounced campaign. They'll play different characters at that point. The only thing I would remind the players of is to make sure over the next couple of weeks that you take a look at your level ups to move up to level 9, including like what you want to do for hit point totals. If you want to wait to do that on stream, that's fine. But like, figure out the other stuff you have, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have as you do that. Otherwise, chat, I would love it if we could give some love to our wonderful players. Thank you so much to Pyron Jade, to Darksaber2K, to Peripheral Mike Smith, and of course to Tasty Chai. Thank you so much to all of the lovely streamers. Thanks, everybody. And I will see my good friends here next week for Talisman Adventures. Bye for now. Alrighty. That is going to do it for us. And yeah, really lovely moments with this crew. And, as I say, I've really enjoyed, I would say that the feel of this adventure has been a little bit more lighthearted, certainly than what we had when we were dealing with Curse of Strahd on my channel. And even Espergenesis, which got very, very serious, my space opera, got very serious too. But having said that, there are moments of poignancy. And I think that's what I really love about it, is the fact that these sort of moments of humor are set off by these moments of poignancy, and provide strength to each one. They make the humorous moments seem that much lighter, and the more poignant moments seem that much more poignant. So it's nice to see that happening, especially when it's done over a period of a long time. These folks have been doing this at this campaign basically for a good long stretch, couple of years. And so now that we're finally closing in on the end of this campaign, there's going to be a lot of feels, I think, going on next week. In fact, next month, I should say. In fact, Palace of the Red Pasha, my I&B campaign, is also going to be wrapping up that campaign as well. So I think there's going to be a lot of feelings and a lot of stuff going down for people that are going to be leaving behind characters that they've been with for a long time. And so, yeah. Love D&D. Well, what can I say? It's the greatest of games. It's just so good. If you like what you saw and heard tonight, I hope you will consider following us here on GOG.com. I hope you will check out as well and subscribe to the channel if you can, because that is always appreciated. And I hope you will as well consider clicking through to all of our individual streams and channels, because that also really is powerful for us, and it really helps us because we have our individual streams and things like that, as I said. As for me, next week I'm going to be back here, right here at 4 p.m. Eastern for Talisman Adventures with this same crew that you just saw. And otherwise, I will be back on my own channel Friday for Espergenesis. There is a chance that I might be doing a bonus stream this evening. I was going to have my Arvocalist crew, but because of schedule conflicts, that's been canceled for tonight. So I might be doing a special session of a game called Legacy of Dragonholt, which is a board game that's a choose-your-own-adventure sort of thing. Might be doing that this evening. It would not be a super long stream, but I might do something tonight for a couple hours. We'll see, because I'd like to wrap up this particular part of the adventure that we're in. If you're interested, please stop on by. That also has some D&D elements to it, and chat is the one that gets to make the decisions for that. Otherwise, that's it for us for this evening. I think we are all done until tomorrow. When is it Wolfie who's coming up tomorrow morning? Who is up next as of tomorrow? Oh, it's just me. Who is? Yeah, it has me listed, but I'm not actually sure who is tomorrow. Oh, it's the Crocs. Okay. So it's the Crocs tomorrow, who is going to be hanging out with all of you tomorrow evening. So I hope that all of you will be able to stop by for that and watch Crocs, who is a good dude. Otherwise, definitely stop by tonight if I do have a bonus stream. And otherwise, I will catch all of you lovely people down the line, as I say, back on my channel. If not tonight, then definitely on Friday and Saturday. And Sunday, I have another stream as well that is Soundclash the Clampdown, our special Blade... I shouldn't say Blades in the Dark. A special game which is made by Brandon O'Brien, who's the GM on Sundays, and has done a wonderful job with that game. So definitely check that out as well, or follow us on the channel over there. Or again, I'll be back next week right here for episode 273 of Pen and Pixels at 4 p.m. Eastern with Talisman Adventures. And before that, I'll be on my own channel, and you'll be able to see other people here, as I say, with the Crocs as well. Thank you for the follow on my channel, Henfu. I appreciate it. And that's going to do it for now. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you to all of you lovely people. And I will see all of you wonderful people soon. Until then, be good to each other. Have a good night.